Now she's a Christian grandmother. It's like, but her early life, pre-Christian, she was something else.
So,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I can't really put myself in like one particular group because I was really kind of just cool and chill with everybody. So, like, I was in a choir. I was, we didn't have drama, which I hated the fact that we didn't have drama. So that I was an athlete. I played volleyball, ran track. I was most definitely, a nerd, but I didn't like broadcast it. So it was just like, if you really knew me type of thing.
If you were in with the other crowd, you were not a nerd.
Yeah, I knew the popular folks.
Okay, no, you were not a nerd. If the popular, okay, listen, how were you treated by the popular people? Did they respect you, or did they treat you like you were a nerd, an outcast?
I don't know. They respected me.
Well, no, you were not a nerd.
Yeah, okay. I mean, even the popular folks, they didn't really like look at the nerds like, "Ooh, you're a nerd." I didn't go to that type of school. Like everybody had their own like pocket of people or whatever. Like it was.
But then you also got to give context to the type of school you went to.
I went to an all-black school.
Yeah.
So I went to an all-black school, and I mean, kind of hood adjacent. So
yeah.
So I don't remember being like you had like the nerds that was also pretty well known. Like everybody liked them. Like,
yeah.
So you could be like, oh, I play chess, or I'm in a chess club, and people be like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That type of thing. I'm in beta club. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And they like treat you a certain way.
Yeah.
You were a nerd, or you were like into this, or like you were in band or orchestra, you were in a choir, you were like an athlete.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that type of school. So
okay.
it's kind of hard to be like, oh, I was in this pocket of people because we didn't have that.
Yeah. And you, Bradley?
Again, so I most definitely was a loner in high school. So I went to, it was a predominantly white high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I went from basically an all black, elementary, middle school to then predominantly white high school. So for me, it was a bit of culture shock as well, because it's like, what y'all doing?
Okay.
But yeah, I'll put it this way: I was everything but a nerd, which I probably should have been more of, if I'm being honest. I played sports, ran track, played football, all that kind of stuff. But I really wasn't necessarily like a jock kind of a deal. And sure, people knew of me. My older brother, he's I guess he was a junior by the time I was a freshman.
Okay.
So, they kind of already knew me, but not really because of me, because of him kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I did kind of make a name for myself with track. I ended up being, one of the fastest people in the city, most definitely the fastest at the school. So that, but, that's like knowing somebody because they tall. It's
yeah.
That really, they knew of me, but they didn't know me. And I kind of preferred it that way, honestly.
You were really named the fastest person in the city?
Actually, this was 8th grade. I was undefeated city champ in hurdles in 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
When I got to high school, I was one of the fastest in my particular event, which was hurdles. But I guess it was maybe a sophomore, one of those. I guess that's kind of when my growth spurt kind of really took off.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I became known because as a sophomore, I ran a 4.3 and a 40.
Mm-hmm.
40-yard dash for football. And so I was just as fast, if not faster, than the seniors on the football team.
Okay.
So that you kind of, and that's kind of something that you kind of almost would expect. Like, oh man, this sophomore, he faster than everybody else. So, but I really wasn't hanging out with anybody.
Yeah. Because your best friend had died when you was in elementary school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And again, and I guess not even trying to sound any kind of way when I say this. I wasn't used to being around white people, if I'm being honest.
That makes a difference too.
Right, because like I said, I from daycare all the way through 7th grade, I was with. Actually, I don't know if I went to school with a white person until 8th grade.
Oh wow!
And so to then be in that environment, to see how they interact with each other and all that kind of stuff, it was like I don't really know if I want to hang out with y'all. And not saying that they were doing anything bad or whatever. It's just that it was a particular environment that I wasn't used to around people that I've never really been around. Yeah. So it was, like I said, it was a bit of culture shock because I had never been around them like that. Even the church that I grew up going to is it's an all black church. I don't know if I've ever even seen a white person in my church. I didn't think about it.
I never thought about that, but actually I didn't start being around white people until because I always went to black schools or black, and the other minorities were, we had very few Hispanics, because until I got to high school is when we had more Spanish people in our school, but it was no whites. Maybe a few Hispanics. I think we even had a girl from Hawaii when I got to middle school in some of my classes. But aside from that, it was no. I went to all black schools, and even our church was all black. And my jobs, though, when I got into the workforce, that's when I got the eye-opening experience of the real world, literally.
Right.
Because then is when I was around everybody. So, but yeah, I had never thought about that like that. But when you said you weren't used to being around them, I hadn't either. But I had never thought of it like that. I just took it for what it was.
Right, yeah, so as, and of course, I was already old man, so, I've already, and I guess I'm a people watcher.
Yeah.
I'll sit on a park bench with some coffee. I'll sit there for 3, 4, 5 hours just watching people walk past, That's,
I'm a people watcher too.
But I also did that in school.
Yeah.
So it's,
I think I've always had that. I've always been a people watcher.
Right, so I would be in my own space,
and
I would just observe.
Yeah.
And the more I observe, the less I would want to engage.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, and how old were you when you got interested in the opposite sex, Bradley?
Oh, I was in diapers.
I think that's the earliest I've had. Now, I've had several guests say 5 years old in kindergarten. But you say in diapers?
I remember my mom, she used to go to the YMCA in Baton Rouge. And she used to go to this aerobics class. Now, this is what she's telling me. And apparently, she had a female instructor.
Yeah.
And I guess after class one day, she was looking for me, and I guess I was over there by the instructor. I was sitting there rubbing on her legs.
Just mannish.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's great. And then again, to each his own. But I've never, for me, it's just, And again, it's you just still being a loner and all that other kind of stuff. But for me, it's I don't know if I can have a conversation with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what we doing?
Yeah.
And even in college, when I'm out there being wild and whatever else, we need to at least be able to have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Because if you can't have a conversation with somebody, we ain't got nothing in common. If you can't talk to me like somebody who got some sense, you can move on.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's always been my thing. Like I said, since diapers.
Yeah. What about you, Chantel?
It was I don't know exactly when. I just know in elementary school.
You don't know what grade?
Maybe 3rd grade.
Okay.
I say 3rd grade. Yeah.
You must have had a crush.
Yeah.
Who was your 3rd grade crush?
Jason was my 3rd grade crush. Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Okay, and when were you allowed to start dating? At what age? Bradley?
Again, that's it. Because like I said, I don't really like people, so I kind of really didn't, honestly. And there was never really a conversation our parents and I had that you can start dating at this age, whatever. Now, don't get me wrong. I had maybe 2 girlfriends in school.
Okay.
Kind of like that puppy love thing, really. It was more of, hey, so-and-so think you cute. She wants your number. Like, okay, whatever.
Here it is.
Right. So it wasn't really like, ooh, I really like this girl. I want to impress her. It really was never really that.
Okay.
So, I kind of think my parents knew that. It was like, oh, and I hate to say this because it sounds so bad. It was like, oh, he's just bored.
Because you know your child, so they knew you.
And then I was, I'm not saying that I wasn't. I was bored, and so to say that I was dating, not really. It was, this girl, she think I'm cute, and I ain't got nothing else to do. It ain't track season, it ain't football season. Yeah. So, okay, sure. I mean, and of course I say it wasn't dating. I'm not sure that I ever really took a girl on the date before Chantel.
Are you serious?
I mean, so in college, we'll go get some beignets or something, but it's is that really a date? Yeah.
Did you ask?
Yeah, it's to be a date.
No, it would be more like, hey, you hungry? You want to get something to eat? It's not like, hey, let's go out.
So you never got dressed up and took a girl to the prom?
Oh, no. I went to the prom, but,
Solo?
Okay, so my senior prom, I wore a lime green suit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I didn't take any of that seriously at all.
Where did you find a lime green suit?
I don't even remember. So I'll tell you the inspiration for that. So you remember the movie Dumb and Dumber?
Uh-huh.
And was it Lloyd? I forgot Lloyd and something else. But they went to this little ball or whatever, and one of the dudes had an orange tuxedo, and the other one had a lime green one. And I was like, you know what? I went and of course I already said
the lime green.
Yeah, he wore the lime green. And I remember thinking, you know what? And because again, like I said, I got straight hair, right?
Yeah.
I combed my hair straight back to make it look like an afro, which looked completely ridiculous. I know I did.
I remember seeing that photo.
Yeah. So I had this straight hair afro with some shades on.
Straight hair afro.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to see that picture.
Oh, I got to find it.
Because that sounds like a mess.
Oh, it was.
How straight hair makes an afro?
I never really took any of that stuff.
Seriously.
You
just so you just made a mockery out of everything.
Oh yeah. And I thought it was ridiculous. It's half of y'all not gonna like each other tomorrow. So what y'all doing?
Woo! Lord have mercy. What about you, Chantel?
Well, as far as dating,
yeah.
I guess you could say I was allowed to have a boyfriend in high school. But it was just, I don't know, having a boyfriend in high school was just stupid. It was, it's like, when Bradley was saying, it's like, you're not gonna like each other tomorrow probably, or and then as far as having a boyfriend, I don't think any of them actually take it seriously.
Yeah.
So, no offense, I'm sorry, but
I didn't.
and that was like the experience. I didn't really, get the vibe of them actually taking it seriously. So it was just like, yeah, whatever. That's how I looked at it. It was like, okay, whatever. Like, it was just something to do, but like,
because it's like, what are y'all gonna do? You can't.
Because I wasn't planning on doing that.
No,
Anyway.
you can't do anything that people dating do.
Right.
You're too young. So what's the point? Y'all just like company.
Yeah, just chilling.
And then, for me, I also really didn't have time, to be honest.
Yeah.
In between the football season and track season.
Right.
Football is in the fall, the track is in the spring, and then I started running summer track. So I never really had time to entertain or be entertained by anybody.
Okay.
Same. Yeah, because it was volleyball, then track, and then my crazy, but I was in JROTC, so we would do like a few weeks in Camp Beauregard. Mm-hmm. So I was there.
Was that like what they call it?
It was like basic training.
ROTC. Yeah.
So like you still do like camp like things, like like have like games, like have sit by the fire and stuff like that.
Okay.
All kinds of things that camps would do, but you still had your PT stuff that you would do too. So which is like personal training. So it was that, but it's the whole thing. The whole point was to teach you, responsibility, discipline, and as far as like just, I guess, life in general. So I mean, it was fun for me. So that's why I was never saying no to like not doing it, because I'm like, what else am I gonna do?
So your first boyfriend was, no. Okay, hold on. Let's bring this.
My first boyfriend was Jaron, in 9th grade. Yeah.
Jaron?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my first boyfriend. And we weren't even together that long. I think the longest boyfriend I had in high school, his name was Brian. And yeah, that was a waste of time. Like, me and Jared, we're still friends, but like, I mean, even Brian, but like, it was the childishness. I mean, because we were kids anyway, but it was like extra childish. And it was just so, what's the word? Just time wasting, or like just nerve-wracking to deal with.
Yeah.
Like, can we just be friends, just be done with it? Like, just all this other stuff, just,
Well, both of y'all are a lot better than I was. Because I wasn't fast, but I had boyfriends. I wasn't supposed to date, but I started going to hang out at the skating rink. And that, I don't know, brought on my interest in boys. So I started my interest in boys started when I was like 6th grade. But like you, I had a boyfriend that I just had a boyfriend because he asked me. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, it wasn't anything. I mean, we never went anywhere or did anything. I don't even remember kissing him. We just said we was boyfriend and girlfriend.
Like, I'll see you at school.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah. It was just we were dating. Well, we were just together. Because we had classes together. So we really didn't do anything else together that nobody else did. So
it was like a puppy love stage.
Yeah. 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 So, but so Bradley, Chantel was really your first girlfriend?
The first one I took seriously, yeah.
Okay, no. What about no? You could talk about the failures, because all of us have had failed relationships.
And then I guess what I mean when I say take seriously, anyone that I really, she's the first one that I ever really paid attention to. But it's the longest relationship that I've had before her, if you could really even call it a relationship, was like maybe 6 months. About half of that was, and on top of that, she went to a completely different school, so it wasn't even like I even saw her on a regular basis. But
wow,
I think we started dating maybe like around the beginning of track season. So, again, I got school, then I got track. I really don't feel like being bothered anyway, so I'm not on the phone like that. We didn't go nowhere because, I'm also a kid. I don't have a job.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like spending money on people anyway.
Oh, not a tight one.
Oh, yeah, no, Chantel is the first person, is the first girl that I've ever spent money on.
Really?
I'm not, I've never been, that just wasn't me. I'm not doing that.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I think we broke up sometime during the summer. But again, I was already running summer track, so were we dating? I guess we were calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend, but that it really wasn't nothing.
And what grade was this?
Oh God, this maybe I think I was like a sophomore or junior in high school or something like that. Yeah, it was, like I said, and then, oh God, I don't know if I had a girlfriend in college. I mean, don't get me wrong,
he was living the college experience. We'll just put it that way.
Right. I was a jock, and I guess I say a jock on college. I mean, I got some freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the new dude on the team. I'm quiet and mysterious, and everybody want to know about me and all that other kind of craziness, And at the time, I went to UNO, and of course, early 2000s college was different.
Yeah.
UNO's campus was jam packed.
Yeah.
It's nothing like how it is today. Actually, they got enrollment issues now. They just had a whole bunch of layoffs. But anyway, in college, I'm doing what typical college dudes do. That girl over there, she looked cute, and then I've never been one to, I guess, shy away from anything. If I saw a girl I wanted to go talk to her, so I go talk to her.
Wow.
And now, was I looking for a relationship? No. I was fairly singular minded, and if I got shot down, I got shot down. If not, then we did what we did.
Wow.
There's to say that I had a girlfriend though. No. No. So yeah, Chantel most definitely. Matter of fact, Chantel is actually the first girl I had to chase.
And that's amazing, considering how you look. I would have thought that you would have had to be beating girls off of you.
Truth be told, if I guess I kind of subscribe to this. If you're gonna throw it at me, I done already had it, so I don't want it.
Oh.
if it's that easy for me to get, I don't want it.
Wow.
If I don't have to put in no work,
so you didn't take advantage of the advances, because I know you had to have a lot of women interested, or girls, females interested in you all of your life.
I've had my fair share, I guess. I'll say that. But I don't know. Is to me, I never really liked the whole, throwing yourself at me.
Yeah. That's trashy. It's like, it can't be that easy. At least make me work for it.
Well, I've always thought this way. If you give it to me, because I mean, sure, I think I'm a handsome guy, whatever else, but I've never really been, I've never been full of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize, and I'm secure enough to admit that they got dudes that look a whole lot better than me.
Yeah.
That's, they get more muscles, blah, 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 whatever else, whatever people might think is attractive, they got somebody else that's more than that.
Yeah.
You know, and if you give it to me that easy, how many other people you can did this with? You know, and it's you know, so now it's just, and I don't know, maybe I'm just in my head too much about it, but it was just, I'm okay.
Wow.
My homeboy Rob, he can tell you a story. I'll tell it to you now. This wasn't my best moment, if I'm being honest. We actually went to, it was a frat party, or a what you call it, a Greek party at Dillard. I want to say we were, I don't know, maybe, well, no, because my boy was, so yeah, we were freshmen. And, you know, I'm with my boys, we just talking. We had a party, we just having a conversation, we just talking. And this girl, she comes up, you know, she backing it up on me, like almost knocked me down, really. And I'm trying to be polite, and it's like, you know, I'm good, you know, like I'm just hanging with people, you know, like, you know, kind of in a nice way of trying to tell her to go away.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't go away. And, you know, it you know, and I guess maybe my frustration got the best of me, and it just so happened at the same time that the DJ switching songs, so it's now quiet, and at the top of my lungs, I wish this beat.
Oh.
So, you know, we had to leave after that. And, you know, but it's just...
Talk about embarrassing.
Yeah, you know. And the girl, she, you know, she just looked just shocked, and you know, I'm like, oh God. So of course now I'm a demon now.
Yeah.
You know. So, but that's just, you know, I've never really.
Oh my God, that's the worst.
You're right, you know, and it's you know, if we can't talk about, you know, the classes you're going through, what you're interested in, all that, you know, we got to be able to talk about.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, like have a good, decent conversation.
Yeah.
So, like I said, as far as a girlfriend, like an actual girlfriend, Chantel probably is the first, if I'm being honest. That doesn't mean that, you know, I haven't, you know, been out there and whatever else.
Yeah.
You know, somebody that I've taken seriously, Chantel would be the first.
Serious enough to chase. So look at you, Chantel.
Yeah. She, well, I almost stopped chasing her. Yeah, she almost missed out.
Almost missed out on what? You can't miss what you ain't never had.
Well, that would have been her.
How you gonna miss something you ain't never had? Oh, what?
She was the new girl at the store that was a little bit, well, we was working in the mall. Right after Katrina. And so I, you know, again, I was going to UNO, and then Katrina happened. So, you know, all that. So moved back home and got a job at the mall, you know, just trying to find something to do because, you know, I just lost everything in the storm. So got a job at the mall, and, you know, working there for a little while.
Well, hold on. That's later. Put a pin in it. Okay. I got another question.
All right.
Okay. What did you want to be when you grew up? Chantel?
So I wanted to be a veterinarian.
I did too. A veterinarian or artist. And my mama told me that wasn't an artist didn't make real money.
Yeah, I wanted to be an R&B singer. That was the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I got the same thing about, you know, like that's a hard life. You know, you really gotta like put yourself out there. And I'm like, I know, and all this type of stuff. And yeah. So that was my thing.
Cool. And Bradley?
So I wanted to be an oceanographer.
Wow.
Yeah, that's until I got to college and realized that I would be in a boat with, I don't know, maybe 5 people in the middle of the ocean.
And you don't like people like that?
I don't. Not enough to be stuck in the middle of the water with them like that. But then later on in life, I went to the Navy. Go figure.
Exactly. Well, you on a boat full of men.
Right. Jesus. That was something. That was something.
How did you make it?
I almost didn't. Being honest, I almost didn't.
Wow.
But yeah, that I wanted to be an oceanographer.
Okay. And let me see. What did you do after you graduated from high school? Did you go to college? And if you went to college, what did you major in? Or were you in any clubs or organizations? And what was the most memorable part of the college you remember?
You want to go first?
Oh, so let's see. College, I majored in communications.
Did you go right after high school?
Yeah, I went right after high school. Yeah, I was, and the thing about it is, like, I was kind of, like, juggling after a while because I was thinking, like, of going to the military a little bit after.
Yeah.
But, it's, you know, I didn't finish, like, right away in college. Like, I finished, like, years later.
Okay.
But, yeah. So, yeah, communications. And it changed from that. Like, it was, like, psychology at one point. That's when it first started. And then it went to communications after that. Yeah. So.
Girl, when I came back home, when I started college, I started at TSU, Texas Southern University. And I was like, okay, I'm back at home with this baby. I need some money. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for nursing. And no. I thought about what can I do? And my godmother was a fashion designer. So she taught at U of A, at TSU. And I went there and I took a tour. I even went on a field trip with her and her students in Austin to the some kind of fashion industry house. And it was fun. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be a fashion designer and learn how to, design dresses and be a top designer. Girl, please. That was not it. I finished 1 year at TSU, and then I started I went to Lone Star College years later after I was married to number 2, Joe. And I majored in nursing because I was like, okay, I got 2 kids now because I had my son by then. And he, as a matter of fact, even went to some of the classes with me. Like I brought Britt to school with me sometimes too when I didn't have a babysitter that day. And my best friend at that time, who was my now ex's sister, used to bring Britt to class with us sometime. People be asking, like, is that your baby? She's like, nah, this is my best friend's baby. And she was like a baby doll. But it was so funny because she couldn't tell the difference between me being her real mama and Bridget. And we didn't look that much alike. She could tell, but she used to call both of us mama. I was like, girl, I'm your real mama.
Right.
Yeah. But no, but when I went to college, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian or an artist. And mama told me artists don't make no money. So that shut that down right there. Yeah. So what college did you go to?
I went to Southern University. Yeah.
Okay. And you majored in what?
Communications. Yeah. So
from the beginning?
I finished. Huh?
From the beginning?
Well, psychology from the beginning, then I switched to communications. But I didn't graduate from Southern at all. Because after I had Davey, I had to sit out. Eventually I went back. So I graduated from SNHU. I did online classes with SNHU.
Okay.
And finished it there.
Southern New Hampshire University.
Yeah, Southern New Hampshire University. That's it, SNHU. Like.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. What is that?
But yeah, and then I'm about to start on my MBA for project management.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna knock that out and get my certification along with that. So, but yeah.
Wow. And while you were actually attending college, were you in a part of any groups or organizations?
When I after David was born, a little bit after he was born, and I was going to BRCC, Baton Rouge Community College. They have Alpha, Delta Alpha. It's a really small sorority, but that was my group that I was in. Me and my sister's actually in that group. But yeah, that's probably like the only group. As far as like anything I did, I mean, as far as like college, when I was at Southern, it was radio communications, but I would just help out with the sound and audio and stuff like that. But I was never like actually on mic or doing broadcasting or anything like that. I knew when I did communications, I knew enough to know that I did not want to be the person on camera. Like maybe like on mic, that was fine, but that would take a lot more speech classes, and at the time I didn't have the time for that. Yeah. So I just left that alone, but that was my thing. As far as like any type of spotlight thing, I think just being in a Greek sorority was like probably like the only thing. And it's very little people that, that's in that. So it didn't last long. I think they even closed out that
chapter.
That organization. Yeah.
Are you still a Delta?
Huh?
Are you still a Delta?
Well, in this case, I guess so, yeah. But, I mean, it's not like, I guess, what's the word? No one really even speaks about it. I'll put it that way. I have a jacket and things like that. But, like, the Delta, I'm not that Delta. But the Alpha, Delta, Alpha, I am that. So, but not like, the other sorority.
Delta Sigma Theta.
Yeah, Delta Sigma Theta. I'm not them.
Okay. Because that's what I'm thinking about, the Deltas. Okay. Okay. So it's different.
Yeah, it's different. This is based off of the community college that I went through. So they didn't have that organization anywhere else, any other college, except the BRCC.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Bradley, what about you? Did you go to college right after high school, or did you go to the Navy, or how all this came about?
I went to college right after. So I went and...
what college did you go to?
University of New Orleans.
Okay.
UNO. So I went there. I walked on to the track team, actually, and earned a scholarship. So that my original major was oceanography, but then it switched to I guess it's kind of a subset of kinesiology. I changed it to human performance and health promotion. And it was that until Hurricane Katrina happened, and it shut the school down. So kind of couldn't go back to school after that.
Yeah.
And
was it because the school wasn't damaged, huh?
Oh yeah, it was. It was actually they just recently tore the old dormitory down. And it's been sitting empty since Katrina. I think they just tore it down last year.
Yeah, it just tore it down last year.
Yeah. The campus was, it was bad. It was bad.
Wow.
Well, UNO is just, literally right there by
on the water. Yeah.
Right. So, and that's really what made Katrina so bad was really, it pushed not all, but it pushed a lot of water from Pontchartrain onto the city.
Yeah.
So the school shut down. They actually even disbanded the track team. So, of course, there went the scholarship.
Wow.
So I kind of bounced around a little bit, trying to get back into school here and there. Gosh, I don't even know how many schools I went to at this point. But I am back in school now, working on my bachelor's because I haven't graduated yet. I'm working on it. It's in IT project management, information technology project management.
Okay.
So yeah, that I wasn't in any fraternities. They kind of missed me with the selling points. You know, it's a brotherhood. Nah, bro, I got enough brothers. And y'all missed me with that.
You know, some people might say you're antisocial.
Some people do. And again, it's not necessarily anti-social. It's just, you know, I have a very
picky.
Yeah. I guess you could say I am very picky with who I choose to hang with.
Okay.
You know, I'm not everybody's flavor of tea, and everybody ain't my flavor of tea. And I'm okay with that. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, and at that time, at least, one of my homeboys, he's a Sigma.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of my homeboys, he's a Kappa. Another one of my homeboys, he's an Alpha. You know, and they didn't have any Qs on campus at the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hear what y'all saying with the brotherhood, but like I already know a bunch of dudes in fraternities.
Yeah.
They don't really get nothing extra than what anybody else get.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't, you know, I don't understand the point.
Yeah.
So, but you know, again, that's just, and then again, I understand that it is about brotherhood, but I already got brothers.
Yeah.
You know, like but yeah, the military, that came much, much later. I went into the military at 27.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so I went in much, much later. Mila was already born. Actually, Mila was 2 when I went in.
Wow.
So, yeah. So yeah, that the military, that ain't have nothing to do with college. That was, I got these 2 children and a wife, and we need some benefits.
Yeah.
So I went for the GI Bill, for TRICARE, for all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why the Navy though? You and my last interview last month was with the guy that was my best friend in high school, Tyrone. He went to the Navy. But why did you choose the Navy of all branches of service?
So I wasn't going to go Marines because, you know, shout out to the Marines, but one of their kind of taglines is every Marine a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's true or not, but it was my understanding that regardless of what your job is, if they need to put a gun in your hand,
oh wow,
they're going to do that. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that's listening that happen to be a Marine, but you know,
I didn't know that
at the time. It may be different now because that kind of stuff changes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that I didn't want to do Army because, you know, for me, and I guess this is the other thing, the duty station location was just as important as the branch. And in my mind, if I'm going to go Navy, chances are I'm going to be stationed on the coast somewhere.
Yeah. Is that how y'all got in California?
Exactly. If I'm Marines, I could be stationed almost anywhere. Same with Army and same with Air Force. Okay. And truth be told, I did go to the Air Force recruiter's office. Mm-hmm. But the second that I walked in there, the dude checked me up and down and had this grimace on his face and was like, "What you want?" I was like, "You know what, bro? Nothing."
Wow.
Like, that's how y'all gonna greet people that's supposed to sign over their life to y'all?
Exactly. You know, never poor customer service. That matters in life in general.
Right. You know, so I passed on the Air Force, and I went Navy, and it worked out for us because we were trying to get out of Louisiana anyway. Yeah. And we actually very specifically wanted to go to San Diego, and that's what I got. Wow. So it worked out for us. I don't know if it would have worked out in such a way with any other branch, but that's why I chose the Navy. Okay. And I didn't know anything about the Coast Guard at the time. Because truth be told, had I known about the Coast Guard, I probably would have done the Coast Guard. Honestly. Yeah.
Because the Coast Guard is a lot like, is that a full-time service program, or is it like what do they call the part-time military?
They have full-time and part-time, or reserve.
Yeah, reserve, yeah.
the Coast Guard, it's not a part of the Department of Defense. It's a part of Homeland Security.
Oh.
So it is still part of the military, but it's not one of the branches that you send out if we like in wartime.
Okay. So it's for like the United States.
Correct. They don't now. They may have joint ventures with other countries that's like fairly close.
Yeah.
At least I don't believe that you're not going to find our Coast Guard over in Japan.
Okay.
Like that's not.
Okay,
not,
so it's stateside. It's
right.
It's U.S. bound.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Their job, literally is to protect our coast.
Okay.
Okay. I would have chosen that, honestly, if I knew more about it. But outside of my uncles, I'm the next person that has gone to the military.
Okay.
So I didn't know. I didn't know anyone that had any recent knowledge of military. So I just took the best option that I thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. And now you could tell me how you chose Chantel. She was your first real girlfriend. Because I like to know my special guest backstory. I find that interesting. And also, even more interesting is how you're referring to you guys' son as you were telling me the story when actually he's your stepson. He's
correct.
Yeah. He's Chantel's son. But I love that you chose that you're so close to him that you stepped in and was telling the story.
So Chantel and I, like I said, we started out as coworkers. At the time, and again, this is in Lamar, Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, and at least the store that I was working at is actually still there. A store called Sunglass Hut, and at the time, Sunglass Hut had a sister store called Watch Station. So, as the name implies, our store sold sunglasses and her store sold watches.
Yep.
And every once in a while, if they needed help, I would go over there, or somebody from our store would go over there to help them, whatever, because we were all trained with the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I would, kind of go over there. And then, like I said, she was new. So, I would kind of poke my head in every once in a while and say, hey, look, you need some help, or, you got it, whatever else. And, just kind of start, just doing some light flirting, whatever. Not anything, serious and whatnot. But, and there was one particular night, and then by this time, me and my coworkers at our store, we were all, really close with each other. And we used to hang out and all that kind of stuff. And this one night, I ended up calling my store manager, say, hey, man, what y'all getting into tonight? Oh, man, I'm hanging out with my old lady. Like, oh, man, you a punk, man, whatever. And, I called one of my other coworkers, and, he was saying, oh, man, I'm hanging with my old lady. Man, whatever. Y'all, And so my manager actually ended up calling me back. He was like, hey, look, why don't you call the new girl?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you talk about the new girl? It's like, the one that went watched it. Man, I don't know her like that. And he like, well, look, I know her, and just hung up.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude, for real? Like, I'm in elementary school. Like, you got to go holler at the girl for me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, whatever. Well, he calls me back, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 minutes later. Yeah, she said she'll go to moves with you.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, whoa, who said anything about the movies? So you digging in my pocket for her, really? But, I was still bored. I ain't had nothing to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, she cool enough. All right, man, whatever. So I called up and I was like, yeah, I don't know what what a boy was, telling you. But I mean, if you want to go, I mean, we can still go. I was like, it ain't like you don't know me. So we ended up going to the movies.
What y'all see?
See, that's the. If I'm being honest, I don't actually remember.
Oh.
The reason, and is not for what you think, but the reason is for the first time in my life, I was nervous, and I really didn't know how to deal with that.
Wow!
Because the whole time I'm like, does she want me to hold her hand, or she just move her hand? No, wait, okay, no, she's getting her drink. Okay, no, that'll be weird if I just touch her hand. Okay, no, I'll touch her hand. Right, I'm gonna put my arm around it. But that's corny. Don't do that. Put your arm around it. Man, don't do that.
Hold on. Chantel, could you tell he was nervous?
Oh, yeah, she could. Oh, 1 second. She went to go feed the dog. So
okay.
Here she go. She said that.
Could you tell he was nervous?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I could tell that I wasn't being myself. Or not like myself. So,
not lost your cool.
Right, yeah, I completely lost my cool. It was out the window.
Chantel, what did y'all go see? He can't remember.
I can't remember either. We were both nervous.
Oh my God.
Like, we were both nervous. I cannot, and I've tried to remember where we went to go watch, but I was like overthinking the entire time we were sitting in the movie theater.
So both of y'all were nervous.
Yes.
So, wow.
And of course, I didn't make no kind of move. I didn't hold her hand, didn't put my arm around nothing. It's just like, okay, like, she don't really know me like that. Because what if I stink? Did I put on deodorant? Okay, yeah, if I keep my arms down.
Oh, you really going deep in your mind. Like, did I second guess and everything? Do my breath stink?
Meanwhile, I'm overthinking on my side. Like, he's not even trying to, like, hold my hand, like, sit closer to me, or, like, put his hand around me or nothing. Like, I was like, we just sitting here looking crazy. Yeah.
So
wow.
The movie, it ends, whatever it was we was watching, it ends, and, we out in front of the theater, and, it's just awkward, like, kind of like that awkward silence. So it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll see you at work, and she gave me the church hug.
So did y'all drive each other? Wait. You didn't even pick her up? Y'all met at the theater?
We met each other there. Yeah.
We met at the movie.
Oh, y'all was really platonic.
Yes, yeah. Well, I think I offered to pick up, and she was like, no, I can drive. And I was like, oh, all right. Like, I didn't really push the issue.
Yeah.
I know why I said that, by the way. Because I was like, he's going to come here and he's going to be like, oh, you got a kid? And I wasn't mentally prepared for that yet.
Wow. Okay.
Like I said, so we leaving, and she gave me the church hug, with the pat on the shoulder.
Yep.
Sideways hug. So I'm like, like, I've never got the church hug before. That's wow.
Wow.
And see you the next day, and I didn't really think that of it, because in my mind, I'm like, I guess she just not really into me, but like, we just going to the movie, so whatever. So we see you at work, and we get to just talking, like, not even really, I mean, sure, yeah, I'm still flirting or whatever. I think she's cute, but it's like, she ain't really into me like that, As I might make a comment, and she might laugh, but she didn't really engage. So it's like, Jesus, like, I just lost it. Like, I ain't got no game anymore.
Look, chipping at your little ego.
Right. I'm just like, she just, like, I guess I'm just not her type. So, and we just, and in my mind, it's just like, yeah, that's homegirl, I guess,
Wow.
And then, again, we're coworkers, so I would go and check on them. If I'm going to get some lunch, hey, look, I'm going to get some lunch. You want something? And, she'll come with me sometimes, and, we'll go eat lunch together. But again, in my mind, it's, that's just homegirl.
Yeah.
And that actually went on for a while, honestly. You know, and every so often I'll call up and see if she want to hang out, whatever. You know, this weekend, oh no, I got to wash my hair this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, the whole weekend, bro. For real?
So you were hiding your son?
Right, like
I was.
Oh my God, Chantel, you washing your hair the whole weekend? You couldn't have said something else like, "No, I'm going to visit my whoever in another city for the weekend." Washing your hair for the whole weekend.
I had my guard high up.
Oh my God. Y'all are hilarious.
Yeah. So, well, here's the
and horrible liars.
Yes.
Well, and and it's the mall, so you on your break, you just kind of just go walk around. And so we were on break one day, and we're just walking and talking, just whatever. And we see one of our mutual friends, actually one of my coworkers, and I guess they just started making the jokes like, "Oh, so what y'all dating now?" And of course, to me, I'm like, "No."
I remember that's Thomas. I remember.
So she checked me up and down. Yes. Wait. What? Huh?
Huh?
Oh. Yeah. Yep.
Awkwardness.
Right. So we still don't actually really know when we started dating. So that
August, September-ish of 06.
Yeah. So somewhere's around there.
Oh Lord. Y'all like, well, no, me and that we started dating. Well, Alex after we graduated from the art school, he came back here to home in Harvey and couldn't find a job here. So he ended up moving back up to Houston and lived with another guy that went to school with us. They was roommates. And me and him started hanging out together, and I started taking it because my older kids started taking their dad would have them every other weekend. So me and Alex would hang out on the weekends that they be going with their dad. And I called myself gonna give him a tour of the city, and we just started hanging from that point on. Yep. So, and that was like in August.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah. So, small world.
And so we started dating, and she did eventually introduce me to Davey. He was 2 at the time.
Okay.
And it's funny when he first met me, he thought that I was her brother. Because he and I were at the time at least we were fairly similar build, similar height.
Yeah.
And it was dark because I'm on the front porch. It was nighttime and everything, so he thought I was her brother. But he and I we kind of clicked almost immediately, and I understood, and I guess this is why I didn't really have any hangups about it, is because I was raised by my stepdad. Yeah. And
y'all were the same age. If he was 2 and you was 2?
Right. So that didn't really intimidate me.
Yeah.
Simply because, I don't have any hangups about that.
Yeah.
I was raised by a man who didn't father me.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that that's not my daddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you that young, you are the daddy. Because I know he's done everything for you that your dad should have done, whether he was paying child support for you or not. That was the man that you lived with, fed you, took care of you, wherever, if you had some kind of practice coming up or something, was there always for you. So that is daddy. That's like my second husband. My daughter was 2 years old when we went and got married. We got married in Vegas.
Okay.
So he's her daddy. And her real dad, my first husband, she can't stand him. Can't stand him. And then he tries to strong arm him and make her call him dad. And she's like, "You're not my dad, you're Daryl." And he's like, well, I should have said his name, but okay. It's a lot of Daryls though. But
But yeah, so we started hanging, and in my mind, it's okay. What like, do I really like her, or like, is it the chase, or what is it?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the chase, because it like, we can actually talk.
Yeah.
We can have meaningful conversations.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. And and then, well, when you're dating, and you try to have a conversation with this person and that person, it's like, makes you dumb. Or it's just, I just, like, we don't like the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, sure, we can talk, but it's like you're talking to me about soap operas and all this other kind. I don't.
You need somebody to mentally stimulate your interest.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, even now, we'll sit and we'll talk in the living room. And it's funny, my son, he's like, I don't see how y'all do that, because we'll be in the living room, the TV been off for hours, and we just sit there talking.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he's in a different generation now. They just don't do that no more.
No.
Nope. Right. But that's kind of what really, really intrigued me about her, because I was never really able to do that with anyone before. I mean, okay, like we said, if a girl's sitting there throwing it at me, we also not talking.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, sure, that could be fun, I guess, but like, if that's all you got, for real?
Yeah.
Okay. That right. It ain't gonna really do nothing.
No.
So, and like I said, if they was gonna throw it at me, the way I looked at it is that I already had it, so I don't want it.
Yeah.
And she made, and I mean, I ain't trying to put your business out there like that. I had to chase it with that too. But that's the thing that also let me know that she, had high standards for herself. That she had high values for herself.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that really, attracted me to her even more.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to make the decision of, okay, if I'm gonna be with her, I also need to be a father to this boy. Yeah. Because I can't be with her and not actually
be a dad to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's my thing. Either I'm gonna be a dad or I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm gonna be with her and just not, whatever.
Yeah.
So, he and I, our relationship started off, really early. I go pick him up from daycare.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he would see me, it's like, oh, hey, daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what it was.
Yeah.
And we even have pictures, and Davy's always been my road dog.
Mm-hmm.
He's always down for anything. He was young. He was maybe 4 or 5. We actually got pictures of me and him, of us, really, during Mardi Gras, New Orleans. We, in the bar, 1, 2 in the morning, and he hanging with us. And, he got some juice or whatever, and we drinking whatever. But, again, this is the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So never.
Wow.
He's always been my ride or die, and, even now, well, he had his, he had a situation not too long ago, and, he called me first.
Yeah.
Maybe could have, I don't know if should have or not, called the police first, but,
yeah.
He called me.
Yeah.
And, so that's my son.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, biology be damned. I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had a very, 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 very good example of that growing up.
Yeah.
My dad, you couldn't tell him that I'm not his son.
Yeah.
That's just, it is what it is. I mean, now granted, he never stood in the way of anything, and neither have I, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell nobody, no, you can't. But if you also make it around, it ain't my job to, make it available for you either.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the stance that I took on it, and
wow.
To this day, I actually still haven't met his biological dad, and it's not because of, not wanting to. But there have been situations where we could have that, but he was always the one to go off and do some other stuff.
Wow.
Which, truth be told, kind of, put it into a better perspective for me is that, like, you really don't want to be bothered with this boy.
Exactly. So needless to say, he didn't have visitation rights.
Well, they never really went to court about visitation or whatever. So, I mean, I guess by default, I guess he, at least has half. I don't know.
So he didn't pay child support?
Well, truth be told, we never needed him to.
Oh.
The way I see it is that if you don't want to be bothered with him, then go ahead on. We don't need nothing from you. If you don't want to take care of your seed, if you don't want to see about your son, then go ahead on. We don't need nothing from you. I got this.
Well, I have to applaud both of you guys because I went through hell, literally, with my ex over our daughter.
Oof.
Because he was paying me child support, and it's like his little $300 a month. He took me through hell. And it was like, it wasn't worth it. All that I had to endure. My daughter hated going. She had to be made to go out to visit. And since he lived in California, because when he got out of the Air Force, he moved to California and opened his own karate studio. But not karate, but taekwondo or something. But since he wasn't here to get her for his visitation, he still wanted her to go and visit his parents. My daughter absolutely hated going to visit them. And then it was like, it was worse on me because they wouldn't discipline her. She had a split personality. When she was with them, she was Tiffany, not Brittany. So when she came back, she was still in that Tiffany mode. And I had to put her back, literally. Get her back into Brittany mode. It's like, no, ma'am, we're not having that. Tiffany is your personality out there.
Right.
You not running this house. You gonna do what I say do.
Right.
So I didn't like to do that, but I mean, I had no choice. But it was like, that was a really hard time for me.
Yeah.
So, but I applaud you guys for not needing, whereas I needed that money. I wasn't working when I first came back from them. I didn't have anything. I didn't go straight to college out of high school. I wanted to be, I'd always said, I wanted to have 4 kids. I wanted to be, I wanted 2 boys and 2 girls. So I was happy to marry him and think that I was starting the life that I had said I wanted, but not that way.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't enter into marriage to be an abused wife.
Right.
No. So I'm glad, and I thank God for helping me have the courage to get out of that situation. But y'all just don't know.
No, I hear horror stories about stuff like that all the time, and it's not that we didn't need the extra money, because we kind of, before the military, we would barely above drowning.
Yeah.
It's just that, for me, it takes 2 people to make a kid, number one. Hopefully willingly.
Yeah.
But if you know that you got a kid out there and you don't, step up to take care of that kid, and not even saying that it has to be even in the financial sense, because everybody don't have it like that, which again is understandable.
Yeah.
But it takes more than finances to be there for a child. And if you just don't do the necessary things to show that child that you were there for them, then I would rather not have the money.
Yep.
If you're not going to actually show up for the child, then keep your money. Because, you know, like I can go and find money. I can go and make money. I ain't worried about it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fairly resourceful person. If I need money, I can go and get money. I ain't worried about that. The thing is that you need to show your child that you are actually there for them, that they matter to you.
Yeah.
If you're not there for your child, what you're telling them is that you don't care nothing about them.
Yeah.
You know, and at that point in time, it's, you know, then no amount of money in the world could actually make up for that.
Nope.
You know, so that was my stance, is that, you know, if I would much rather you spend time with your child to actually know your child, you know, and if you don't want to do that, then go ahead on.
I came to the conclusion that it's his loss.
Oh yeah.
Our daughter is now, she went and got her degree from, she started off in North Harris County College, and I got her, with his back child support that he owed me, I was able to give to her to buy her first car with.
There you go.
So she's doing excellent. She went to school. She paid her own tuition we paid her tuition when she went to the first college she went to, but then she transferred from there and went to the university, and she had a double major, did excellent, worked part-time and kept her grades up, graduated with a double major and with a double bachelor's degree. So she has a double bachelor's degree, and now she's going for her master's.
There you go.
So who's losing now?
Right, yeah. Most definitely.
Who's losing now?
Well, same thing with Davey. You know, just to kind of give you a glimpse of the type of kid he is. So Davey, he went to high school at Frederick Douglass High here in New Orleans, and shout out to Frederick Douglass, because they really are a very, very, very good school. They're the only school, and maybe even still, that has a full-time college program like on campus. With they have a partnership with Bard University out in New York, and there are other schools in the city that have part-time programs. Yeah. But his school was the only one that had a full-time program. So by the time that Davey was a junior in high school, for the most part, he was taking college classes all day long. Oh wow! So Davey actually, technically, if you really, you know, because of the timing of it, Davey actually graduated from Bard with his associate's degree before his high school graduation. So technically, he actually graduated college before he graduated high school. Wow. Right. Davey, and because he was part of that program, his GPA was weighted a little bit differently. Yeah. He graduated with a cumulative GPA of 4.5. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to say that he's smart is an understatement. Yep. And he goes from that to now he's at LSU, full ride, and LSU ain't cheap. You know? Oh, I know. Got a full ride at LSU. He wants to be a physical therapist. I think he only has maybe 3 semesters left. And a full ride academic scholarship, not sports. That makes a huge difference. But well, here's the thing. That's not to say that he's not an athletic kid. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I have a problem with guys who are jocks all the way. Yeah, you gotta have some kind of have some kind of sense, some kind of book sense. Because what you gonna do when your body is broken and busted, and you can't do whatever sport you went to college for? Exactly. Who's gonna pay your bills then? Yeah, and the other thing is that he's kind of picked up certain traits from all of us, from my mom, from my dad, from Chantel, from me, his uncles, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, my parents, you know, they have some real estate, you know, some rental properties. They have some other different business ventures and whatnot. You know, I've been paying attention to them. You know, we aren't at that place yet, but we are fairly close to getting there. you know, the creativity that my daughter has, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, he's taken a little piece from everybody and to listen to the types of plans that he has for his life. Yeah. You know, it's like, you know, truth be told, in a way I actually feel sorry for his biological dad, because it's like, you really missed out on.
He's missing out.
Right.
Every day that boy is alive, he's missed out.
Mm-hmm. You know, and the thing is, I think the last time baby saw him was when he was maybe like 4.
What? Hold on. Please tell me. Yeah. Please tell me this man does not live in Louisiana.
I don't know where he lives.
Last time I heard he was living in Houston, and he has 3 daughters. Yeah.
Hold on. So 3 younger daughters.
Uh-huh.
And he got a son that he's not taking care of.
Yeah, but again, that's cool. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
It's his loss.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like, you know, don't come around. And then, you know, even if he were to come around, he wouldn't even recognize baby.
Yeah.
Well, at least Daryl came to our daughter's high school graduation.
Nope.
He didn't do that.
Well, he had, and that you know, that was a bit of a thing. So his dad's, I guess that was his sister.
Yes.
His sister wanted to come to the graduation, and you know, she and I, we had some words, and it's, you know, like, no, no.
Wow.
And you know, their stance was, you know, oh, well, you're not his dad. Well, first off, come say that to my face. Number 1. Number 2, you know, who are you to say that I'm not his father? You know, whenever y'all's mama was on her deathbed, I'm the one that actually brought him to go and see her.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, and his dad didn't even show up.
Wow.
You know, that's the thing is, you know, don't call my phone, you know, saying what you gonna do and what you not gonna do with my son when ain't none of y'all been involved.
Yeah.
I'll go to jail that day.
Wow.
You know, and you know, but again, that's, you know, he said, that's my thing. You know, you can't tell me that's not my son.
Yeah.
You know, and I know a lot of people, you know, kind of have reservations about stuff like that. You know, oh, if you're not the biological father, you're not in this. You know, that's, being a parent is more than biology.
Exactly.
You know, being a parent is about being present.
Yes.
And actually trying to impart something into that child to help them be better and to have more than what you have, to have a better understanding of how the world works than what you have.
Yep.
You know, and that's the thing, a lot of people don't really get that.
Nope.
You know? And then, of course, people say, oh, the children are the future. Okay, well, the future is typically better than the past. So what are you doing to help that child have a better future?
Exactly.
If you're not really doing nothing, then, you know, even if you are in that child's life every day, if you're not preparing that child for their eventual future, you're actually not a parent.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, just because you made a kid don't actually make you a parent.
Mm-mm.
And that's...
Chantel, this was your friend, supposedly, right?
Oh, yeah, we started off as friends, and we dated like a little bit after I graduated high school. Yeah, it was, you know, all cool, and it was like one of those switch-ups where it's like as soon as he found out I was pregnant, it was like a completely different person. So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, he put a big switcheroo, so it was one of those things where like not even halfway, I want to say like I was like 4 months, and like that's when the abuse started. So it was like the mental abuse, verbal, and then, you know, I remember I was driving one time and he like smushed my head against the window.
No.
And I'm like, yeah. So, you know, with that, it was just like a long story short. Like he did a lot of things to just be like, you know what, I don't trust you at all. Like, not with my life, not with my kids' life.
Wow. So his true colors came out.
His true colors definitely came out.
Because, like I said, My
He
first.
threatened me. He threatened my mom.
Yes.
Like he was threatening lives. And
Yeah.
that's what it was just. We even got in a physical fight, and I mean, I guess in his mind he was like, "Oh, she's little, it's whatever." Like I'm like, dude, like I'm from the hood. I was taught to fight early, so yeah, I'm not going down. You can't just knock me down and expect me not to get back up.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah. Wow. But like I say, his loss.
His loss. Most definitely his loss.
His loss. So he just done lost the opportunity, and them 3 girls, he'll get his back if he ain't getting it back already.
Yeah, that karma coming him hard as hell.
Yeah.
And truth be told, if he get it or not, I guess.
Oh, he gonna get it. He's gonna get it. He got 3 girls. Yeah, he's gonna get it.
Well, that's how little I actually care about him and his situation.
What?
Whether he gets it or not. Truth be told, I actually wish him the best, if I'm being honest. But it's such a non-factor in my life, in our lives, that I don't really care what happens to him.
Wow.
It's just again, it's for me at least, for somebody to not take care of your child, that's the lowest of the low. Yep. I would rather you be a criminal, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because what reason?
That should be a crime.
Right.
To make a baby and not take care of it?
Go do something else. Don't make a child and then not care for the child.
Yeah.
That's that kid didn't do nothing. That
Nope.
kid didn't even ask for this.
Nope.
Go on the block or something. Go do something else.
Yeah.
Don't go have kids if that's what you're gonna do.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
I don't know. And again, like I said, that's just how I feel about it. I thoroughly enjoy fatherhood. I love seeing that aha moment that they get when they finally get something, or when they understand something, or when they learn it, and to see the talents that they have come out and flourish. I love to see that. Yeah. And I know that as long as I'm alive, I'll especially how we raise them, because they are curious. They're curious just how we are. Yeah. To see them continuously grow, that's probably the best thing that I've ever experienced in my life. Yeah.
Wow. And he supposedly, hold on. Chantel was sharing me that he had his own life-threatening experience recently.
Yeah. It was and I kind of hate to say it, but we in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So it was the wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal. And he's okay now, but he did get shot. It wasn't life-threatening. It actually was fairly simple. It's just a traumatic experience of it. Yeah. But yeah, he went through that, and and they say he called me, but instead of the cops or wherever else, he called me. And
I'm really glad he did that, by the way.
I got there as soon as I could, and that we handled that whole situation, and he's all the better for it, you know. And in a way, I kind of hated that he had to go through that, because a certain amount of innocence kind of died that night.
Well, you know what? I believe God he has things happen for a reason.
Yeah, very true.
We may have hated that had to happen to Davy, but God needed to show him, because he just came from where?
So about that, and I'll explain where he just came from. But earlier that day, we just kind of had a spontaneous conversation. He was talking about how he appreciated the fact that we didn't really force religion on him. Yeah. And and because like how we was talking earlier, no kid really wants to go to church like that. And my thing with him is just just kind of instilling that decency, in him, to just be a decent human being. Yeah. And, so now he says that now that, he's, a young adult, he does have questions about that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And his friends started their own Bible study group.
Yeah.
And so later on that night, they were actually coming from their Bible study group.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's just, ended up wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
And that ended up happening. And, so again, like I said, and there I go, kind of contradicting
and
myself.
What college kid is going have a Bible study group with their friends?
Right. Exactly. Well, and that's I also have to commend his friends as well, because we all get together and we do Mardi Gras stuff with the whole family, and he'll invite his friends over and whatnot. And again, Mardi Gras in New Orleans, you in college, you thinking it's about to be some crazy debauchery type stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he and his friends, it was funny. They kind of act almost older than us. They were sitting around the dining table playing cards, joking, laughing, And I asked them, y'all not gonna go out and meet them? You know how many girls they got at that? Man, Dad, I ain't worried about that. I'm like, boy, look, you would be disappointed in me if you knew me at what, 19, freshman year, sophomore year at college. You and like, what? It was wow.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, he doesn't have any interest in that.
Nope.
And he'll say,
his mind is on a higher level.
Right. And I commend him for that. I wholeheartedly do.
Yep. Because when y'all told me he was coming from a Bible study group, I'm like, Bible study?
Bible study.
What guy is going to college and has a Bible study group that he come from, and he's dropping his friend off at home after they have Bible study and gets shot at?
And to give some extra context, that before we had the conversation, I walked in the living room and he was watching Joel Osteen taking notes. And it's like, wait, you doing what, bro? And like he has his own personal Bible. I think he had like 3 or 4 of them.
Bible.
And you can actually flip through his Bible. You can see that he has notes written in the margins.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff. So it's not like he's just saying that just to be saying it. Like,
he got the receipts to prove it.
Right, because I know if I was his age, I probably would have said that just to cover up some of what I was really doing.
No, because I do that. I'm a writer. I sit in church and I have a notebook that I take with me, and my notebook, I sit there and I write as the pastor is giving the message. I'm sitting there constantly writing. Then I have some kind of I'll be like, that could be a T-shirt. So I write down, jot down. I have a notebook full of notes, and I've always been a note taker, and it's just what I do. But I have a hunger for knowledge. I love knowing more.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how he is.
I commend him, and I thank God for sparing his life. But he was put in that situation for a reason.
Oh yeah. Well,
God don't do. It's always a reason behind. God don't do stuff for anything. It's always a reason behind it. Yeah. So
I can tell he's a lot more focused in school. Not that he wasn't before. But it's now. You can see that change. He doesn't come home very often.
Yeah.
And reasons being is like, oh no, I got this big test coming up next week.
Yeah.
And, again, granted, that's what you're supposed to do when you're in college.
Yeah.
But it kind of put things into perspective. He does recognize that he could have died that night.
Yeah.
And that kind of, put him on a different or more focused path. I guess I won't say different, but more focused path.
So God was like, okay, I appreciate you watching Joel Osteen and taking them notes, but we gonna see if you really gonna live right for me. So, yep. Well, like I say, I thank God for saving him, But he needed to see that was obviously something he needed to go through. Just like my brain stroke was something that I obviously need to go through to get me on the right path. And now I'm on fire for the Lord.
I hear that.
Yep. So let's talk about your experience with your big C, Chantel. And look, I just realized C and Chantel started the same letter. But
Yep.
so, and it come to find out, it's more than one type of cancer.
Yes. The one I had it's called invasive carcinoma. Invasive ductal carcinoma, triple negative breast cancer.
Okay.
So that's where the tumors develop in the ducts of the breast.
Yes.
So it can be like different sizes and things like that. The triple negative part of it is where it's still in the ducts, but it's not quite reaching the lymph nodes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in the vicinity, but it's not actually affecting one just yet. So and that was my case. I had two of them, two tumors in my right breast, and like they were like big enough to where it was between like a stage 1, stage 2 cancer. But yeah, the route I took because of course it's not my first rodeo, not as far as like me having cancer, but I witnessed my mom have it twice, so it's it affected my decision making. I know that for sure.
You were educated by what all your mama went through.
Yeah, I mean, with that, like, since that happened, like, I was, always like, I felt like it was my job to make sure I stayed educated and I stayed up to date with, what was going on, as far as like with breast cancer in general, because in my mind, I was thinking to myself, like, it's a possibility because, my grandmother, she's never had any cancer. Like, my grandmother's 91.
Wow.
She's still rocking it, so, but the fact that my mom had it freaked me out enough to where I was like, hey, I need to pay attention to stuff like this.
Yeah.
So, I did my BRCA gene test, things like that, came back negative. And then I come to find out that it doesn't really pick up on all the types of cancers. It only picks up really on the hormonal-based ones. And that, and the hormonal-based ones are actually the ones that's most hereditary. What I've learned, the triple negative thing was just like, I can't really call it a fluke, but it just, it has nothing to do with the fact that my mom had cancer, which is wild. So, and the way I found out was I was doing my regular mammogram. Like after my mom had, cancer, it was stated by my doctor, like, hey, you should go ahead and start doing mammograms a lot earlier than, the normal amount. Yeah. So I started having mammograms at the age of 27. So, the issue that I was having around that time was I knew I had what is called calcium deposits. And it was like one of those things where it was disintegrate, but it was still causing issues to where it was between on my rib, as far as like the upper part of my rib, but it was pressing against the breast tissue and my sternum, and it would cause pain.
Yeah.
So, and of course, wearing bras every day, of course, that didn't help.
Yeah.
So, my goal was to go in, let me go ahead and do this regular mammogram, but I'm going to go ahead and just ask them, like, hey, can we look into this, calcium deposit? And if we can, I do want to go ahead and just go for, my whole goal was to go for a vasectomy. I wanted a vasectomy, I wanted to do reconstruction, all of that stuff. That was the plan. And, it was like, all right, well, good, but let's go ahead and check this out because we see that there's something else going on. So my regular mammogram turned into ultrasound biopsy. And, like, it's just some of the things you just kind of know. And it's kind of hard for me to explain as far as like how it hit me, but in that room, first of all, that was the worst biopsy. I've never had a biopsy before a day in my life, and that first one, oh jeez, I felt everything.
Wow.
Like, the numbing was not working. So I'm laying on this table with two nurses in the room. It's like a tight room, dark, because it's ultrasound, so you have to see what's going on. But I'm looking at the screen because I don't know how, I don't know what it is to like not look away. I'm very curious. I need to know what's going on. Like, so
I even watched them when they giving me shots. I'm looking at the needle.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking dead at what you're doing. Like, I've got so many IVs, and I'm looking.
Me too.
Every single time.
Yep.
So I'm looking at this happen, and I'm like, what are those dark circles? And, I'm asking questions, and I guess they weren't really prepared for that. I guess people don't really ask questions. I think they're too terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was terrified.
They don't want to know.
Asking questions. So I asked these questions, and it was like, one of the things they didn't mention was that it could be a cyst. And I knew I had a prior cyst before. And I'm like, okay, cool. But I see this too. The second one was a lot deeper. And I'm like, well, I only had one cyst. Like, what's that? So, they get quiet, and of course, tension builds up because it's like, okay, I got quiet at the weirdest time. Yeah. And, I can feel it. Like, I feel when it changes in the room. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna stop asking questions because I'm pretty much, y'all's silence pretty much answered. It was pretty loud. So.
Actually, the silence sometimes speaks louder than the words.
Yes, and it definitely is. So, they brought me, in this room where it was like, a bunch of screens. It just looked like a tech room to me. So I was like, why am I in this tech room? Like, what y'all doing? But, they're trying to show me what they're seeing. They're comparing the things they see on the mammogram, which is not much because my breast tissue is dense. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you have dense breast tissue, mammograms are useless. If you are experiencing any type of pain, anything, inkling that may tell you that something is wrong, ask for an ultrasound mammogram. They exist. So it's usually just the regular mammograms they just go for. But if you have this breast tissue and you do, and your doctor told you that, ask for an ultrasound because that's how I was able to see everything. Wow. Like, I was seeing things that the mammogram did not show. So
you hear that, ladies? You need to ask for an ultrasound on your breast instead of a mammogram. Right. And I'm keeping that in mind because I think I have dense breast tissue too. So I think instead of having a regular mammogram, I'm going to see if I can I'm pretty sure an ultrasound mammogram is more expensive than the regular mammogram, huh?
Yeah, I would tell you some insurances will not, they're not too happy about it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's changing because I know there are some changes that was recently announced about, women getting mammograms, and they're now starting to shine more light on, the fact that a lot of women do have dense breast tissue. Yeah. And how it doesn't really reflect too much on anything you may see with a regular mammogram. And I'm like, wow, why is this new? Like, they speaking about it like it's new. And I'm like, I don't understand why y'all talking like it's supposed to be a new thing. Like, women been having, dense breast tissue for years.
Exactly. So why is it not covered for you to automatically have a ultrasound breast exam as opposed to a mammogram?
Exactly. So it's like, why y'all just now coming out with this? This is all my frustration of like all the stuff I know now versus when my mom had cancer. It's like I wish I knew. But at the same time technology was completely different. Yeah. So that but yeah, they're showing me the comparisons of, my regular mammogram and my ultrasound and what they're concerned about. The same things that I was concerned about when I was watching the screen is what they were showing me. And that's what they took a biopsy of. So, they're telling me like how long the biopsy is going to take, and, it's most likely it's automatically sent to you in your My Patient chart, stuff like that. Yeah. So, long story short, I get the results. I get it on a Friday evening, like, early evening. The rest center's already closed. I know that much. And of course, my brain, because of this type of person I am, I analyze stuff. I went in full analyze mode of my results and found out that I actually did have cancer before they told me.
Now, how did that feel?
I wish I never did it. It's like I'm conflicted with that still because it's like, yeah, I know, but like I have to go the whole weekend knowing.
Yeah.
And then Monday, because I expected them to call me early Monday morning, which they did, and it made me come in immediately that same day. I think I even called in that day because I knew what was coming.
Wow.
And they explained to me what was going on. Because at first she talked to me over the phone. She was telling me, and I was like, I already know. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I got it that Friday, and I figured it out that Friday night. And I was like, I stopped looking, and I kept going back. I kept doubling back because I was like, well, maybe I'm just, doing too much. I'm like letting my brain get the best of me. Maybe I'm just like, worrying too much. What I'm seeing is probably not what it is. And then I kept checking back because I kept checking back, and I was like, reading over what these terms mean and making sense of it. And I was explaining to her what I was looking at, and she was like, that's pretty spot on. You even got the type of cancer you have.
Wow.
And she was like, okay, moving forward, like, just leave that up to us. Like,
let us handle it. We got the training. We the professionals.
Tell me twice. Like,
Wow.
Like, I was stressed out this whole entire weekend. I did not enjoy my weekend whatsoever. So, like, and then that day when, it was confirmed, I even went and, confirmed my own leave because there was no way I was working knowing that I got to go through this, whole journey of hot mess. That's all I can really call it. It's just a hot mess of a journey because I knew it was going to be tough. There's going to be some hard times because I know what that looks like. Yeah. So my mom worked through, well, she didn't work through all of her chemo, but like she worked through some of it, and I still don't know how she did it because, I guess because, everybody, my mom was that type of person, like everybody loved her. Like, I don't think anybody could like hate my mom. Yeah. So, like, everybody looked out for her. Like, I don't think, when she was at work, I don't really think she lifted a finger. And she just was just there.
Wow.
So, in my job, I don't have that luxury. I don't have the luxury of like, just go and just sit in front of the computer and do nothing. Like, no, they're gonna, work is work. So I knew I couldn't handle that. My job was already stressful. So I was like, yeah, I'm going on leave. But yeah, the route I took was, the route I wanted to take was, let me knock out the surgery. Let's go ahead and knock out the surgery, do reconstruction. I knew about tissue expanders at the time, and I wanted no part of it. But, the way they explained it to me is that doing chemo and doing surgery last was like the best way, because if I have to do radiation, then, that's going to mess up the whole thing with, surgery, and it can cause a lot of complications or infection and all that type of stuff. Yeah. I'm like, all right. They convinced me enough to, to the point where I was like, all right, let's go ahead and do chemo. And then I have my surgery. So, I had Taxol was my chemo. Red Devil, even though that's not really the technical, the medical terminology name for it. Yeah. But seeing it, you see why they call it Red Devil. Wow. So I did Taxol as my main treatment, but the Red Devil towards the end was like the ending treatment, which was probably like the worst, the worst part of my treatment. All of it was horrible because I got an infection that could have really turned bad if I didn't catch it in time. So that I've heard of people like dying of their infections during their treatment. So, because, you know, they were just either too tired or they just did not want to take out the time to go to the cancer center because they was already going there for their treatment. So I was like, I mean, yeah, I get that, but I'm paranoid. So let's go ahead and go knock this out. So I didn't even have to go there. I just called them. I messaged them and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. I feel extra crappy. Like on top of how I'm already feeling. Like every day I felt sick. Like I was not used to that. I felt sick every day.
Wow.
But that particular day it was cold outside. I remember I had walked the dogs. I was bundled up, but it was drizzling. And it came unexpectedly. And I was like, oh crap, I don't need to be in this situation. Let's go ahead and hurry up and go home. But I think it had already got me because my white blood cells levels was low. That means my immune system is low all the time. Yeah. So I got sick immediately that week. But yeah, I got put on antibiotics. I think I was good like shortly after. Like it didn't. Once I got my medicine, it was fine. But I think the more challenging thing was it's like how I was feeling and how like my hair would like attempt to grow back, and then it was like, yeah, no, never mind. Yeah. My eyebrows was completely gone, but man, I look like a ghost the entire time. Wow. I just look like a malnourished person. Wow. I laugh about it now, but it's like, oh God, I look sick. Like I didn't want to really leave the house because I hated being in public because people would just stare.
No, but look, so what got me, Bradley, hands down. I gotta give it to you, brother. How you gonna shave your entire head for your wife?
Oh, ain't nothing but hair.
Well, yeah, no, but that's support. But you know what? Alice would have did the same thing for me. I'm hoping if I would have had to. But he already have to shave his head because Lord bless him. He lost his hair already. But when I had my surgery and I had to have my head shaved, if he would have had hair then, he probably would have shaved his head. But he had already started shaving his head because he was losing his hair. But
the way I look at it is that I figured that, because she was going to have the treatment that she was going to have, eventually she was going to lose her hair. Yes. And, my thing is that, again, social norms and whatever, all the other kind of stuff, that she was going to get some, wild, crazy looks and whatever else. Yeah. And the thing is that, again, we already talked about how, I ain't really going to take much of nothing serious. Yeah. So the thing is that I wanted her to feel comfortable. I didn't want her to feel alienated. I didn't want her to feel like she was going through this by herself. Yeah. So it wasn't anything whatsoever. So we actually had a haircut ceremony.
Yeah, we did.
She had her dreads and everything. Yeah. We went to my mom's house. The whole family got there, and I was the one to actually cut her hair. Uh-huh. And she and my niece actually were the ones to cut mine. Wow. But I did that in solidarity with her because, like I said, I didn't want her to have to go through that by herself. Yeah. Because you already got enough that you're going through. Yeah. You don't need to have you don't need to compound that with other people not knowing your situation, giving you all kinds of
and judging you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because, I will say this, you can look at me funny all you want to. Mm-hmm. You better watch how you look at my wife. Yeah. You better watch what you say to my wife. I don't care how you regard me. I don't care what all of that. Yeah. When it comes to my wife, I'm not playing no games. Yeah. So that was, that was my way of, doing what I could to try to give her some sense, even though, sure, it ain't normal for the both of us to be walking around with bald heads or whatever else. Yeah. But I wanted her to...
That was for a season.
You're not in this by yourself.
Yeah. That's great.
It's a mental game, though. I tell you, that's the things they don't tell you about while you're going through treatment.
Mm-hmm.
The mental exhaustion, like, and it's a mental game. Like it really does mess with you a lot. Like, because I remember when people was talking about, oh, you get PTSD from that, and I was like trying to figure out like how, like, of course, like, yeah, it's life threatening, like, because like you're dealing with cancer, something that that has the high potential of killing.
Yeah.
And and I'm like, okay, I get that, but like it's not just that. It's like I felt like, okay, the years of COVID, where it just kind of like was just years of, it felt like purgatory or whatever. Like, it felt like that. It felt like, all right, I have to get something, or I have to see something better. Like I was getting to the point where I was like, okay, can we do another test? Like, can we see how this is looking? Like, do another ultrasound. Like, I need to see. I need something that's going to help me, push through, because it was messing with me. Like, it was mind games 24/7.
Wow.
And once I got the clear, of course, I didn't have the clear until after my mastectomy. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Like, okay, so y'all didn't find anything else. That means that I don't have to do radiation, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then I get upset all over again, because I'm like, man, I could have had this. I could have did all of this at the very beginning, but I'm like, all right, we didn't really know until just now, so I can't really do that. And the surgeries was like a whole nother thing, because it's you got to deal with surgery, and in my mind, I'm like, mastectomy, reconstruction, and that's it. No, it was mastectomy, tissue expanders. Wait for a few months with the tissue expanders, and then the right breast of my tissue expander decided, it was like, yeah, no, I'm never gonna heal, and I have a gaping hole.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, and then I have an infection because it won't heal. So okay, and not only that, but I'm also dealing with seroma, which is like a fluid buildup, and it's constantly building up. And I can never get rid of my drainage tubes because it's constantly building up. And then, the next surgery, they fix the tissue expander. The second surgery, they take it out, and now I'm just flat on one side.
Wow.
And then I'm so flat to the point to when I do finally have my reconstruction, they have to reconstruct my right breast completely and get skin from other parts of my body, because I went flat for way too long.
Oh my God.
I have another seroma issue, to where it's just building up. What I mean by seroma, it's like a water balloon on one side. The other boob is fine, but the right one is like building up with fluid. So to the point where it looks like it's about to pop. It was horrible. My gosh.
Wow.
So that's getting it drained. Got it drained a few times. Another infection. And then it finally starts healing. And then I have with this thing called revisions, where, I take fat from different areas. And, after the reconstruction, which is, I'm taking tissue from my lower abdomen and I'm putting it into my breast. That's my new breast now. That's the reconstruction. But
that sounds wonderful.
Right?
I got a whole built-in fanny pack I can use.
Yeah. Which, is cool, but it's, like, it was the extra stuff that was on top of it that was just, it was a lot. The revisions, I think the revision surgeries were probably like the least amount of aggravation, is because they take fat from other areas, filling it up, because one of the things that, that's really not known is that even with breast reconstruction, the fat that's there, it's going to fluctuate with your body. So if you lose fat in certain areas, you're going to also lose fat in that breast. So it's going to look crazy. Even when you do the revisions, you're still going to lose fat in certain areas. So I had my last revision, when was that? July? Yeah, I think that was July. And then I had a recent infection that I just got over.
Oh my God.
From that previous surgery, because the surgery, you know, one of the things it don't tell you is that, of course, like, yeah, you look healed on the outside, but you're still healing on the inside.
Yeah.
And in this case, you can still possibly get an infection. So my right boob is just my enemy. I'm taming it, I promise. But she doesn't know how to behave. I'm like, yeah, you had cancer. Like, let's just stop there. How about that? But no, she wants to act like a wild child. So,
oh my God.
You know, had an infection there. I had a whole bunch of checkups with that. Had to go on antibiotics, and that I recently got over because that was last week.
Wow.
So, yeah. So the things they don't tell you, yeah. And the thing about it, my story is not, of course, obviously, it's not even the worst. I've seen worse, and I just hope, like, around the time that our kids are adults, they don't have to deal with that type of issue. That's, yeah.
Wow. Well, like you said, I need to have a mammogram, and I'm thinking I'm going to request an ultrasound because I have dense breast tissues too. And
that's another thing. If your insurance fights you over it, or if they have like questions about it, like, hey, this is why I'm requesting this, because I have this breast tissue. I don't have regular breast tissue to where other people, you know, they can see whatever they need to see with their mammogram. Mine's a little different. So, you know.
Because I even have a twinge, like a pain sometimes in one of my breasts. I can't remember which one it is now, but I'm like, Lord, please, no, I don't need anything else. Why me? Why now?
That's what you had too, because, you know, some of those things that it's normal to have that, you know?
Yeah.
I still have it. And the thing about it, I have way more than I did before, because it's the normal stuff, and then there's the post-surgery stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the other thing, is like you still have some certain pains from post-surgery.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Tell me about it, because for the longest, my the stitches that I had from my C-section back when I had my first baby when I was 18 took forever to heal. It's still sensitive to this day. I'm
a little numb in certain areas of that, where, you know, when they did the reconstruction. And mine, you know, my line is like a C-section. It's like going from hip to hip.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, one of the things I didn't realize with scar tissue is that, of course, when you massage it, because that's what they tell you to do, to try to minimize the pain and to try to flatten it as much as possible.
Yeah.
But while I was massaging my scar tissue was, you know, you could feel popping, like, because there's air pockets in the scar tissue. Like right after, like at that point where you're really starting to heal, and the scars or the wounds are actually closed. Yeah, you will feel the air pockets pop. It was the weirdest. You know, it doesn't hurt. It's just you can feel it when it pops.
Wow.
So I'm like massaging my scar tissue the first time I started doing it, and I could feel it pop. After you do that, it's like one of those, like a bubble wrap, like when you pop it once, you don't feel it again in that area. I know that's you know.
So is it like your knuckles?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just, I mean, a little less as far as like sound, but
because I've always been a knuckle popper.
Yeah, it feels more like how you pop bubble wrap. That's what it reminds me of.
Wow. I'm talking about my knuckles, and I'm sitting here popping them now.
Right. I almost did the same thing.
Wow. So, and how many different, because you said there's several different types of breast cancer. See, when you said you had breast cancer, I always thought, just in me and my ignorance, and please explain, you say it's more than one type of breast cancer.
Now, I can't really recall all of them on top of my head, but I know the one I had was not a hormone-based. My mom had the hormone-based breast cancer. There's also metastatic breast cancer, where it's more of a outer rash that you'll see. And that's the most aggressive. There's another aggressive one too, but it's metastatic is the hormone-based one too. But I'll tell you this: the hormone-based cancers, from what my doctor told me, is that those are the most aggressive cancers. So especially if, you know, of course, if it does come back, like most of the time when cancer does come back, it is way more aggressive than the first time.
Yeah.
So, and usually if it comes back, it will be a hormone based version of breast cancer. So.
But yours was a triple negative.
Yeah, mine was ductal. So it was, you know, where it developed in, you know, milk ducts of my breast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you breastfeed your babies?
Yeah, I did.
Could that be linked?
With Davy, it didn't last as long as I would like. I remember, it's actually the right one that I got an infection in. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the infection that I had. It was because of my milk ducts being clogged, and it was clogged to the point where it was like usually you can take massage and then just, you know, work it to where it doesn't get as clogged. But in this case, it was so knotted up and clogged in that area, even with massage, it was not going to help. So it developed an infection. So with that infection, it caused me to get engorged. So that means that this right side is just completely, it's kind of like I was talking about how it's aroma, where it looked like balloons about to pop.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, because it's filled up with milk at this point, and I can, you know, still get some of the milk out of most of the ducts, but in this case it was 2 different ducts that was clogged up, so it was starting to clog up all the other ones too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I had to do what they call an old-fashioned way. Of course, I had to do my antibiotics and get it done that way, but what was recommended for me to do at that point was to stop breastfeeding, because once you do get that infection, it will most likely come back again. And I was like, well, what about the left side? It's like, it's best to just wrap it up and stop the milk from producing that way. So that was painful. Very painful.
Binding your chest?
But I had to bind my chest.
Yes. That is painful.
That was very painful, because my breast is still trying to produce milk.
Yep. And then you wake up and the wrap has the breast milk all dripped on it.
Yeah,
I remember that. And then your breasts feel all hard, like it's rocks in them. Yep. And it's warm.
Yep. Yeah, that was the most painful thing I've ever done. Like at that time, that was, I don't think I've ever knew pain. Besides, you know, and I was a person that, you know, my periods, my cramps was like severe.
Yeah.
But that was a different type of thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I breastfed Mila. Breastfeeding Mila is, you know, that was pretty good. I mean, and then of course, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little stressed out, because, you know, I was dealing with my mom, and, you know, we all knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So that really did mess with my milk supply, and it didn't last long with that.
Wow.
But yeah. So.
Well, and it's funny you say PTSD can be an effect because of an illness.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I relate PTSD to like a traumatic injury, like soldiers being
it's a trauma.
Yeah, it is.
It's trauma.
Well, they call another name for my AVM was a traumatic brain injury.
Right.
It's a trauma. Any sort of trauma that affects you on a level where it's, especially if it's a life-threatening type of trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't have to be life-threatening either. So yeah, I take that back. Like, it's if it's some type of trauma that affects you, that's your PTSD.
PTSD, it's post-traumatic stress syndrome, so it's just traumatic stress.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be anything that's life-threatening. Truth be told, and this is actually something that I really wish that the medical field would take into consideration. So imagine a kid growing up in inner city that, in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
You don't really have very many options. You just got to do certain things that you have to do. Those are stressful things.
Yeah.
You actually have a tremendous amount of young kids now that have untreated PTSD.
Yes.
And they don't recognize it because, of course, in the medical community, if you're not a military veteran that's going crazy and shooting up something or whatever, it's like, oh no, you don't have PTSD. Yes, you actually do. It's traumatic stress. It doesn't have to be a life-threatening thing, but you really do have a tremendous amount of people walking around with untreated PTSD.
Wow. What does the D stand for? Disorder.
Disorder, yeah.
Okay. I had never thought about that, guys.
Yeah.
I think, Katrina, right? Remember how the situation with the Superdome, like so many people was like stranded. You got kids.
Yeah.
You got all kinds of things going on. That is a perfect example.
Well, and truth be told, it doesn't even have to go that far because I will say a ridiculously large fear of mine is losing all of my stuff all over again.
Right.
Because thank God that I'm from Baton Rouge and I actually had some place to go. But imagine if you homegrown New Orleans and you going to UNO or whatever, or you just in New Orleans and then Hurricane Katrina happens. And not only did you lose everything, but your entire family has lost everything.
Oh, wow.
Everything that you've ever known is now gone.
Well, I've had an experience like that when we left. I remember this is in middle school, the summer right before I started high school. Me and my mom had went and washed clothes, and we rode around with them in the back of the truck for days. Yeah. The day we took the baskets out and put them in the house, we left home, went to school and work, and the house burned down. We lost everything in electrical fire.
Oh, my gosh.
So can you imagine starting high school? You have to live with, I stayed with my grandmother anyway a lot of times because she was one of my favorite. She was my favorite person, my best friend. She was my first best friend. And imagine starting high school with no clothes.
Yeah.
No clothes. My mama was a shopper at Foley's, Sackwitz, and all these high-priced stores. She became a thrift shop queen.
Exactly.
Because God had to lower her standards. And, but it's just like some things I just wish he kind of would have did different. He got his point over, but.
Whew. And that's the thing is, you don't really realize it because, and again, that's one thing that I really wish that people would take into consideration is just perspective.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the subject matter is perspective.
Yes.
When you think about it, you may do some things now that you do differently, since having gone through the house fire.
Yep, I do.
You may go through the house and just make sure that things that aren't that don't need to be plugged in are plugged in. You know what I mean? So that's a traumatic stress response.
Yeah.
Once you start changing your behaviors, once you start having a different view of certain things, that is a like for example, because of the military, I had a really, really, really hard time with fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
That boom that you feel in your chest,
mm-hmm.
that's the same kickback that you have, shooting a rifle.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people, again, perspective, a lot of people don't put that into
yeah, because I never related I didn't know that. So that puts it really in perspective to me because I've never shot a gun before. But that gives me something to, I've felt the fireworks in my chest.
Right. You know, and so like if you ever see like a combat vet, like whenever they say they can't be around, you know, loud noises of people and everything. So imagine being in the mall during holidays.
Yeah.
Right. You got the little kids screaming. You got all these neighbors and all the other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Truth be told, that's how that sounds. Like being
wow.
You have the random screamings and the explosions and all this other kind of stuff. And sometimes your brain can't really tell the difference between the two.
Wow.
You know, so like that's when that traumatic response kind of kicks in. So for me, every year, hurricane season, I get manic because, you know, all it, you know, and sure, yeah, you know, if the levees didn't break and blah 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 and all or whatever, and logically I know that, every year since Katrina around hurricane season, I just get on edge because, you know, Katrina wasn't even supposed to be that bad. Katrina wasn't right?
But the levees broke. That's what made it so bad.
You know, and of course, if you listen to what the city says, oh, well, we've repaired the levees to pre-Katrina conditions. Well, the levees wasn't pre-Katrina conditions.
Right? Like, I don't think
so. Like, that's not that.
So now you have some protection because before we didn't have nothing.
Right. You know, so it's like that. You know, is that kind of a thing, and so to Chantel's, you know, point about the PTSD, you know, that although it still is a good thing, it makes her pay extra close attention to her own personal medical, you know, information. But then it also has us hyper paranoid about Mila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because now her grandmother and her mother has now had this thing, and so it's like, well, Jesus Christ, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's like me and Zon. Zon has been having headaches. So I told her, you know, I had scheduled her to have a MRI, but they can't do an MRI until she get her braces off. Because when I read the paperwork that I had to sign on my Ochsner, I went on there and the paperwork that they had put up there for the order, it said that if you have like any heart, like a pacemaker or something, or it didn't have braces, but it had anything that could be removed, you need to have that removed before you have the MRI because it'll affect the way the film looks. So I actually called and I talked to a rep there at the hospital, MRI tech, and she said no. If it was a way she could have her braces removed and then bring her to have the MRI and then have the braces put back on, but she advised me to wait until we get the braces off. When she's having them taken off, she has an appointment on the 11th of next month. They're supposed to be taken off and they're going to fit her for a retainer. And at that time, I can call and reschedule the MRI. But no, she's been having headaches a little too often for me. And I know she's much more active than I was in school because I didn't participate in any sports. I was in clubs and organizations, but I wasn't really a physical child. So my size, I was really petite. And so she needs to get, I'm just not feeling these headaches. Yeah. She's been having too many headaches. And look, not only do I have it, I had AVM, but my mom, when she left here after I had my life-saving surgery, when she got back to Houston, she went and found a neurologist and tested her. And guess what? She has one too, but she never had headaches. I have a younger cousin that's the exact same age as my daughter, my oldest daughter. She grew up having headaches, and her mom blamed it on, oh, you just go lay down. And she started self-medicating herself because she got tired of telling her mama, guess what? She has one too. I told her, Keisha, you need to go and find a neurologist to test you. She say she grew up and she thought headaches. She thought something was really wrong with her because she's like, how can they play outside all the time? And I have headaches all the time, and they don't. I don't ever hear other kids talking about headaches. And the same thing with me. It didn't occur to me that other kids are just out playing and running free. Ain't nobody staying up in the house with their cover over their head, and they can't even stand for the light for their head to be. It's like, man, Keisha went and got tested. AVM. Now, both of them are under neurologist care. They don't have to have surgeries, but they're on medication. And they're watching theirs now. But they could be in the same place that I was.
Yeah. I'm glad you're able to,
I believe, yes, God let me have that so I'd be able to save other lives.
Right.
That's why I have the video that I have on YouTube with about my testimony. And I tell my whole story of how I had my AVM 7 days after I had my baby on her actual due date.
Oh, man.
Yeah. If that ain't God, I don't know what is. It's no such thing as coincidence.
You're right.
She was due on December 8th, the exact day that I had my brain stroke, that Alex found me stroked out over on the opposite side of the bed without 7-day-old, not even 7-day-old, because he found me early that morning. I had her at 8-something. So he found me stroked out on the opposite side of the bed because luckily he sleeps light and he heard something gurgling. And when he called my name, I didn't answer. So he got up and came over to the other side of the bed and found me stroked out. But God. So you can't tell me nothing about God. There is a God. I know because he saved me. And all the stuff I did in my past, he ain't had no reason to save me. He chose to save me. I'm here for such a time as this. So I'm using this platform so I could share my stories as well as other people's stories. And then he gave me something else. He said, with my love of research, I should do a Did You Know? And now that's the first episode. Yeah. On the first Wednesday of the month are my Did You Know episodes. The third Wednesdays are my Re's Being Refined by the Fires. And my last Wednesday of the month are my special guest interviews. So people can realize, no, it's not just me that have bad luck in my life. We are here for a reason. Everybody goes through stuff. No, you're not just having bad luck. No, you're here to live a life that the way God wants you to live. And if he has to take you around and around, because sometimes, Lord knows, I feel like, Lord, this is a little too familiar to me. Can I move on now? And he like, nope, you got to go back around. Do it again. And then I blame it. I even say, well, my nickname was Riri. Re's Being Refined by the Fires. I stuck that in there, but based on my nickname, my childhood nickname. But because I felt like a lot of times I'm going around and around, doing the same stuff over and over, but God won't let you out of that. You can't move to the next level of life until you master whatever you're going around in.
Sure.
I've learned that the hard way. And still learning it. So I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, Lord, please. But, like I say, he don't answer sometimes. And then I know I just got to go on. Keep on going.
Yeah, just keep on going.
Keep on going. Every day you wake up is for a reason. Everybody don't wake up. Even if they have their clock set, and if you think your alarm clock is what's waking you up, no, sir. No, ma'am.
I wake up before my alarm clock every
No,
day.
ma'am.
Like, man, why did I wake up 15 minutes before my alarm clock went?
Yeah. Dead people don't hear alarms. They gone. So like I say, I know all the dirt that I did in my life. So it's like, no. He chose to save me and to help pay him back. I know I can't pay him back, but to try to help bring as many people into the kingdom as possible.
Oh, yeah.
I use my platform that he gave me to share my knowledge and other people's knowledge who going through the same problems that my guests have, because everybody has had a different story.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a commendable thing. Like it says, you know, it does seem like in this, you know, in this digital age that we in now, that you have less people having conversations. There's so many distractions around. Everybody got a phone in their hand.
Yes. And it bugs me when I'm in a public place and I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be a grown up and have my phone put away. But then I look around and all the other grown ups are in their phones.
I can't walk and be on my phone at the same time. I can't.
Well, I don't even try it because I stumble. You know, when I had my brain stroke, I had to learn how to do everything again. I had to learn how to eat again, walk again, talk again. As a matter of fact, I could talk, but I didn't like the way my voice sounded. I didn't sound like how I remembered in my head me sounding. So I wouldn't talk. So they thought I couldn't talk, and they sent me to speech therapy.
Oh, no. Well,
And
I mean, it's probably still good because, I mean, like you said, you didn't like the way you sound when you
talk, and when she found out I could talk, I just didn't like the way my voice sounded. She was like, oh, well, you need to. And I was like, well, I don't sound like how I remember the old resounded. Right. And she was like, but no, you're in here because we didn't think you could talk. I was like, no, I could talk. I just don't like the way my voice sounds. Because my throat was real scratchy. And I just did not, and I don't think I still sound, I don't think I sound more like I did before now when I hear myself talk than I did when I was in the hospital. Because they had to put I had a...
You're intubated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, when they took it out, that's why.
Right.
I remember when they intubated me, it took me a couple of weeks before I actually started sounding like myself.
Yeah. And since I didn't like the way I sounded when I talked, I just didn't talk.
Yeah.
And so they didn't know that I could talk because I was just talking to my family when they visit me. But I wasn't talking to any nurses or doctors.
Right.
I was just, you know, when they asked me a question, I would just shake my head yes or no. Because I had already heard my voice and I didn't like the way it sounded. Yep.
I can't imagine that.
So I've come a long ways. And as a matter of fact, prayer is everything. The surgeon who did the neurologist that did my life-saving surgery told my husband and his family before he did the surgery, y'all need to pray because I'm going to go in there and do all I can do, but y'all need to talk to God yourselves and pray that she comes out of this. I would love to be able to interview him, but he's retired by now, and I don't know how to get in touch with him. But I would love to have him on as one of my guests.
That would be awesome.
Yes. The man who God used to keep me here.
And that has to be a fairly, you know, I don't know if stressful is even the right word, but to be, like the neurosurgeon or just really a doctor in general, to see these different things that these people are going through and to at least try to help.
Yeah.
Is and to deal like that, like that's what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Right?
That's their chosen career. They choose to be stressed out like that.
That take a
special kind of person.
Yeah.
You can't just sign up for that job just because you want to make that money.
Yeah. I firmly believe that stuff like that really is a calling.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I'm not saying that, being a doctor is easy.
Yeah.
But if you're a fairly capable person, I think anybody really could actually go to school for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But to continuously go back to that every single day.
Yeah.
And do it well.
Yeah.
And to do it well.
Because he had no idea how I would make it. And I'd love to meet him, shake his hand, maybe even take him out to lunch.
Yeah, right.
And show him how far I've come. That most people who see me don't even realize that I've had a major brain stroke. That's why I choose to keep the side of my head shaved, because I didn't realize that I had the scar from my surgery in my head. That's my mark.
Right.
I choose to let everybody see that I've been through something. That's my testimony.
Well, we're all glad that you're still here.
Yes.
I'm thankful. All thanks be to God. I owe it all to him. So like I say, I know I can't ever pay him back, but I'm doing all I can to try to capture as many people to let them know that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. Just keep trying and get a little bit better day after day.
That's it.
God's not calling you to be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect man except Jesus. And he wasn't 100% man. He was half God and half man. So he had a leg up on everybody.
He's flipping tables in the church now.
Oh, wait. That was the man part.
He dealt with anger too. He was and Jesus was hanging with those.
Well,
the disciples, they
yeah.
Those stand-up people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ain't nothing perfect.
Nope. So, but getting back to the interview, y'all, it's almost been 5 hours. No, it's almost 6 hours.
We just talking.
Okay. Okay, about y'all house. Y'all getting a new house in Gentilly. Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Congrats.
Oh, Lord, easy, yeah.
Please, let us know about that.
Move in at this point. We have the house, but going through the permits,
yes,
getting the lights on, and the
water's not going to be an issue. It's just that the permit department they need a floor plan apparently. So we got to get them that, and we got to get somebody to come out and inspect the electrical work, and then after that, then it goes to energy, and then energy turn the lights on. It's just it's if it ain't one thing, it's the next.
I know.
And that's all before construction starts. So
wow. Do y'all have a timeline? Has anyone given y'all a timeline?
Not really, because right now we're still at the mercy of the city. So
Hey, say no more. This right. New Orleans.
So even though sure, yeah, we're supposed to have a timeline. We can't do nothing if the city don't do what they're supposed to do. And trying to get New Orleans city government to do anything in a timely fashion,
Okay, the city is in Gentilly. Do y'all still have to go through New Orleans?
Yeah, well, Gentilly is just a neighborhood in New Orleans.
Okay.
It'll be different if we bought in Metairie. Then that's different. Or if we was in Kenner. Those legitimately are separate cities.
Okay. I didn't know Gentilly was a neighborhood and not a city.
Oh, yes.
Because people always say, "Oh, I live in Gentilly." I didn't know that was a neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm not from here. I'm from Houston.
Right. Yeah, New Orleans stretches from where we are right now, because we kind of on the outskirts of New Orleans, but it stretches from where we are currently, and it goes all the way to Slidell, really. Like, all of that's considered New Orleans, and it even backs up to Old Aurora. That's on the backside of the West Bank. New Orleans is actually like a fairly, when you think about the entire city, the East Bank and the West Bank, New Orleans, all that. It's a very, very large city. But when you think about Metro New Orleans, that's when you get to Central City, City. And that's typically, and in the French Quarter, of course, and that's a lot of people typically think of New Orleans as just that little localized area.
Yeah, they don't realize. No, we got subdivisions here too.
Right. New Orleans is actually like really, really. Matter of fact, a lot of, and I know a lot of people don't know this. We actually have what they call we have docks within the city limits, and by Lake Pontchartrain, you could live on a boat. You park your boat at one of the slips at the dock, and you can legitimately live on a boat. Really?
I didn't know that.
Right. See, a lot of people. New Orleans has so much, but of course, the only thing that the city will advertise is the French Quarter.
Yeah. Because it's all about the dollars, and then they ain't gonna do nothing. It's like the Super Bowl is supposed to be here next year, and the freeways are filthy. Yeah, they put them lights up, but it's like, what if you want to drive across the bridge to come to the other side to see what's on the other side of the bridge? They ain't took that into consideration, because they need to get them what do you call it, to clean the concrete with, because those barriers are filthy.
Well, and that's something that New Orleans has been known for, is just being a dirty city, quite honestly. For New Orleans to really, really clean up their act, they would have to invest a tremendous amount of money into the city, despite the fact that they constantly brag about how much that they bring in from Mardi Gras, because I don't see that money go nowhere.
No.
No. So another thing about New Orleans, Audubon Park, right across from the zoo.
Yeah.
That's actually modeled after what they call in New York, there.
Central Park.
Yeah, Central. It's modeled after actually the same person that designed Central Park designed Audubon Park.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
And they actually, even if you look at the trees, they actually are planted in a linear fashion. And New Orleans has a tremendous amount of history. Matter of fact, Tremé in New Orleans, that's right outside of Mid City. Tremé is officially the first Black neighborhood in the entire country.
Wow.
Yeah, but that, again, they don't. You would think that they would at least teach the stuff in the schools.
Yeah.
But nope. Even NOMA, the New Orleans, NOMA New Orleans Museum of Art.
Yeah.
Oh God, if you ever go in there, they have amazing stuff. We went there a couple of years back. They had a whole exhibit to the Benin tribe in Africa. They would have Egyptian exhibits. They would have all kind of stuff. And I was showing the kids. There was it was a pot. It was a clay pot. It was a 10,000-year-old clay pot.
Wow! You said NOMA?
Yeah, NOMA,
we went there.
Right.
We went there some years ago. Yeah.
And the kids, they was like, "Dad, it's a pot." I was like, "Yeah, but it's
10,000 years old."
Like, yo, come on.
That's not a pot like what you just went and bought down the street from the store. That was handmade, because everything then was handmade. That's a handmade, thousands of years old pot.
And still could be used.
Exactly.
Today, you know, so it's and not that has anything to do with the pot, but it's the idea that the museum is there.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't ever see any kind of commercial, any kind of publication like about none of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost as if, you know, the city government kind of really don't even care about, you know, New Orleans history.
Yeah.
You know, as a matter of fact, New Orleans was actually one of the few places during slavery where you actually had free black people.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, New Orleans was always one of those was one of those unique type cities where not every single black person that was here was a slave. Like, and that's the thing that for whatever reason I don't really understand why you would think that, you know, blues was created in New Orleans.
Yeah.
You know, jazz was created from blues and all this other kind of stuff. So truth be told, modern music, quite honestly, has roots in New Orleans. So you would think that, I don't know, the Grammys would be here.
Yep.
You know, you would think that all these other types, or at least, you know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You would think that would be like, we would have a museum for that, because think about all the different musicians that come out of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Think about and truth be told, even in the culinary world, every single chef wants to come to New Orleans and train.
Yep.
You know, you would think that there will be some sort of culinary museum. You know, but nope. You know, our main focus is Mardi Gras.
Yep.
And it's like, so, I mean, I get it. Sure, yeah, that brings the tourists here and they spend money and all that kind of, and I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
You know, but
that's the money maker.
Well, our city government needs to have something more than just tourism.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
Need to do some kind of good.
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of export.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you guys know what your love languages are? Words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, acts of service, or quality time.
Mine is more acts of service, you know, with the cooking and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Actually, I say this quite a bit when I cook for someone, chances are they mean something to me.
Yeah.
And that's my soul on a plate. You know.
Wow.
You know, I put effort into that. I put creativity. I put thought into that.
Yeah.
I don't just willy-nilly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I go in the kitchen and I just throw stuff together. But, you know, I taste as I go. I smell as I go. I'm looking and I'm, you know, trying to figure out, okay, I got these different things. What can I make with this? I look at cooking like I'm painting almost.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of my thing. And, you know, I pride myself in learning different types of skills. I mean, not to sound crazy, but you know, I'm a trained massage therapist. You know, I actually went to school for massage.
Really?
Therapy. School for, you know, culinary. You know, I've been a personal trainer. I actually have. I mean, I don't have it anymore, but I was a certified personal trainer. You know,
my son does that.
You know, that's kind of my thing is, you know, and even though sure I consider myself at least a decent chef, you know, my thing is I'm always checking is, oh, do you really like it? You know, what can I change? What can I make different? What can I, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, at least, you know, it's the acts of service. You know.
What about you, Chantel?
I'm a physical touch person.
Really?
Yeah.
Most guys say that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the mushy one.
Okay. The touchy feely one?
Yes. Most definitely.
All right, and so moving on, what are your favorite hobbies or pastimes?
My favorite hobby has always been, you know, something to do with music. I mean, as far as like just in particular is either like, you know, singing and dance.
Okay.
That's been my thing. I vibe out to music as much as I can. So, I've gone into the instruments, but it's always been just singing. That's usually been the thing. And it's more of just like kind of walking around the house singing at this point, but,
Okay.
It brings me joy either way.
Yeah. Wow. And you, Bradley?
Cooking, number one. I would like to go fishing more. My fishing spot got closed down after COVID, so that
and stayed closed.
Right, yeah.
Where'd you used to go fishing?
There's over kind of almost in New Orleans East. There used to be like this little marina bar. That's further down from that airport.
Yeah.
And on the side of the parking lot, there was this little marsh that it was too shallow for boats to go in.
Mm-hmm.
But it was deep enough for the redfish to use that as kind of almost like a nursery.
Mm.
So you always got some really good size, I call them pups, redfish pups, that they're not too big, they're not too small, and I would go there and just have a ball.
Wow.
Because hardly anybody knew about it. So I would go there and be hours, and I'd be the only person there, and it's bank fishing too.
Wow.
So you don't have to worry about boats coming by. You're the only person out there, and then you're going to hit something. That's because there's so many fish out there. Now, don't get me wrong, they had a couple of gators out there too.
Yeah.
So if you catch something, you got to hurry up and reel it in because the gators will sit there and watch you fish.
Oh, wow. And try to get it off your hook.
Yeah, exactly. So, you had to be a little bit cautious about that. But, man, that was... I had fun. I had a lot of fun because every time I go out there, I catch at least 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to catch much to be satisfied. I ain't got to be the one to catch a whole ice just full. I ain't that.
Yeah.
Catch me 2 or 3 and I'm done. But ever since then, I ain't been able to find nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah. But most definitely cooking. Matter of fact, I don't even buy cookbooks anymore. I'll go and get culinary textbooks.
Mm.
And learn different methods of cooking.
Yeah.
Different regions.
Yeah.
I really like world cuisine. I'm really into Iranian food.
Uh-huh. So do y'all have my husband is a real good cook, and because I used to cook when I had the older set of kids, but since I married somebody who loves cooking as much as he loves to eat, he does the majority of cooking, and he's a really good cook. And we have theme weeks. Do y'all do that? He loves Asian food, so we may have pho, what do you call it? Chinese food, not ramen. Japanese food, because him and Zan love sushi.
Okay.
My God. So we'll have theme nights, and we've even made menus for the whole week based on the theme.
We try. Honestly, we try. We'll and we kind of float it around.
Mm-hmm.
If we doing okay, well, with the girls with dance, if they get out a little late and we didn't really get anything going, we'll order a pizza for that night.
Yeah.
Or we'll do some. And Neva's, she's vegetarian, so we'll do some curry tofu and potatoes with some chickpeas in it.
Yeah.
We'll do, something different, another night.
Protein bowls.
Right, protein bowls. We'll do a salad and, have some quinoa in it and chickpeas and tofu and all that kind of stuff. So we truly try to mix it up. I kind of like, how we float with it because... how our life is right now is not that it's chaotic, but I work nights.
Yeah.
Chantel works days, and then Mila has everything that she's doing with dance.
What time do you go to work?
I usually start work around 8, and I get off at around 7.
Are you supposed to be working tonight?
Oh no, I got off this morning at 7, and
okay.
Mondays and Tuesdays my off days.
Because it's after 11 now. We might have to divide y'all interview into 2 points. Okay. Because I'm sitting in the truck, I'm looking like, oh my God, I'm trying to hurry up. Okay, so what do you got? No. I know you know that readers are leaders, right?
Say that one more time.
You know that readers are leaders.
Readers are lingers?
Leaders.
Oh, leaders. Yeah. I was like, oh, what?
So what's your favorite read? Title and author.
Oh, wow. Okay, my favorite book of all time is Beowulf.
What?
Yeah. And just, we don't know who wrote Beowulf, but it's, I don't know, for me, it's kind of the underlining undertones about it. Beowulf, granted, was a Viking, and he was painted as this hero. But if you know about, what Vikings were, they weren't exactly good people. I mean, they raping and pillaging and all kind of other good stuff. But to his people, he was regarded as a hero. And as the story goes, Grendel, the monster, kind of comes in and wreaks havoc and all this other kind of stuff. But it's, Grendel is kind of painted to be essentially, Beowulf's illegitimate child with the dragon.
Wow.
And the dragon is also a representation of a Viking. So it kind of leaves things to interpretation, is because eventually the Beowulf ends up killing the dragon and all this other kind of stuff, but is a changed man afterwards. So is it that he kind of defeated his own
that's deep, Bradley.
Defeat himself,
That's deep.
That person afterwards.
That is deep.
I like it because I look at it at least as a story of kind of self-discovery, regardless of who you are and where you came from.
Yeah.
Just because someone else may view you as a bad person, you might not necessarily be a bad person. That just might be who you are because of where you come from. And everybody still has their own struggles regardless of that.
Yep. True. Okay. And you, Chantel? That's deep, Bradley.
Yeah, it is.
Hey.
My favorite read, I guess, for right now, because it changes.
Yeah.
But Beowulf has been his favorite read for a while, for a long time. But mine is Atomic Habits. It's mainly because
you know what? I'm reading that now.
Really?
Yes.
It's good. Like it talks about like the things that you don't really think about on a regular basis, so like every day. That's like kind of just slowly changing how you do things. And I think I've read it like twice already.
No, I just bought it. I bought I downloaded the it's in my what do you call it? The app.
The audiobook?
Yeah, the audiobook.
Audible?
Yeah, Audible.
Yeah, I got the book for Davey like a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he said he's read it. He's gonna go back and read it again because he was like certain things he was like I just want to take notes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that type of thing because you can actually just take some notes and like just learn from the things that you're doing and I guess like pay more attention to the things.
Be more mindful of of what you're doing.
Right. And then make those changes, the necessary changes. Yeah.
Cool. And and what was the best year of your life?
Oh Lord. That's tough. I mean, you have the birth of your children, right?
Yes.
you know, I can't really recall anything as far as like the best year of my life for childhood, you know, because I mean, it's childhood. Like, you had a lot of good years. And
yeah.
so, I mean, you're a kid, like, less worries around that time.
Yeah.
But I would say, and don't look at me crazy. It'll be like, oh, cliche. This year I got married.
Wow.
Yeah, I married my freaking best friend. So, I mean, like, that was an awesome year. Like, all the way around. Of course, I guess, decided to jump the gun and get married. Because we was planning, not get married, I'm sorry, jump the gun and get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were planning, like, for so long, trying to, you know, find that right spot and find that right place. And it was like, okay, it's right here. We got married in, you know, his parents' backyard. Because, I mean, like, the backyard is perfect.
Did y'all get, so was the wedding in Baton Rouge or was it at the house in,
It was in Baton Rouge.
Okay. Because I didn't know whether
it was like the perfect location. Like, it was, I mean, I don't know why we didn't think about it sooner.
And save a lot of money.
Right. I mean, we did save a lot of money, most definitely. But yeah, I think, like, you know, the only, I guess, thing that kind of, it didn't really get in the way, but, like, I couldn't really wear the dress I wanted because, you know, like I said, I got pregnant a lot sooner, which I don't regret because that was me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had to change my dress a few times.
Yeah.
But everything was perfect.
It happens. Look, I was 5 months pregnant when me and my husband had flew to Vegas and got married.
Yeah.
I was 5 months pregnant with my son, my only son. Yep. So I got 3 girls and 1 boy. Yep. So, Bradley and you?
Yeah, okay, so you don't look at me funny. No, it is not the year that I got. That's not to diminish the marriage. But for me, and you know, I guess for the things that I really, really, really like, it's actually kind of not necessarily a year, but it was a period.
Okay.
And it's kind of both the best and worst.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's my next question. Was the worst?
This was when I went on my one and only deployment in the military.
Okay.
The reason I say that was also the first time that I went out of the country.
Where'd you go?
A couple of different places, really.
Okay.
So the first port that we pulled into was Singapore.
Okay.
And I hadn't heard anything about Singapore before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know nothing about it, so I was a complete blank canvas when I got there, and I was blown away. The food, the cleanliness, just kind of how and it's a city state. So Singapore, it doesn't have cities. Singapore is a country. It's an island country, but it doesn't have any cities. Singapore is just Singapore.
Okay. I didn't know that. Right.
And just to see how they did different things there, you know, I'm a firm believer in travel. If you travel, it really will open up your eyes to all different types of things that are within the way, and it really will let you realize how big the world really is.
Yes.
So culturally, it was nothing similar to anything that I've ever experienced here in the States. The food was completely different. How people dress, how they walk, even. You know, everything is different. So we went from there. The next place we went to was Dubai, in the Middle East. And that was another, you know, crazy experience because Dubai was just as different from Singapore as Singapore is to the United States. Yeah. So you know that was crazy to see a chromed out Lamborghini screaming down the interstate, and it's like, what? Wow. You know, and those people over there spend money for fun. Yeah. You know, like we think that we got money. No. No. Yeah. People over there in the Middle East, gee. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I went to the Mall of Emirates. If I'm not mistaken, it's the largest mall in the world. There's an aquarium in the mall, like a full-fledged aquarium.
Oh, man.
You can go snow skiing inside the mall. There was what's called a gold souk, which is basically just a big giant market where they sell gold by weight, not by design. So you can get this intricately designed gold piece, and it's not even sold by how complicated whatever. It's just by weight. So
wow,
that then makes it a lot cheaper than buying stuff over here.
Yeah.
But all that expensive stuff or whatever, the food there actually costs less than what our food costs here. But it's also a lot.
Are you serious?
Oh, am I? I never had.
Now or 4 years ago when Trump was president?
I put it this way: I've never had better cooked dishes at a better price ever in my life.
Oh, you talk about. Okay, all right, we talking about two totally things. I'm thinking raw food, like in the grocery store. But you wasn't buying raw food. You were eating in restaurants.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot you was in the military traveling. So you wouldn't have been buying groceries.
Right, yeah. But I've never had real chicken until I went overseas. And one of the chefs, because I would sneak into the kitchens and I would, talk, all that kind of stuff. I probably still got in trouble, but whatever. But I was sneaking to the kitchen because I'm gonna learn something. I'm not just coming here and just gonna walk away with nothing. But one of the chefs, he told me that we not really eating chicken over here. And that kind of confused me. I'm like, what you mean? He'll say, well, why are y'all's chicken breasts so large? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, they just, because they dig chicken breasts. He was like, can a chicken fly? And it's like, well, no. He said, well, don't you have to work a muscle for it to get big? And it's like, well, I'll be damned. And he showed me a picture of their chicks, and I'm like, they look sick. And he was like, no, a chicken is a scavenger. A chicken is, they knock on the hunt, whatever. They if you let a chicken out in the yard, that's why they scratch and peck.
Yeah.
They look for bugs and all that kind of stuff. And he said that our chickens are like how they are because we pump them full of steroids and all this other kind of stuff.
Yep.
He said the chickens that they have there are actually pasture-raised chickens, who basically like how you see, like how you see the squirrels just running around or whatever.
Yeah.
He said the thing is that because we let them forage naturally, the meat is actually already seasoned.
Wow.
And it's like, I never really thought about it like that.
Wow.
So me having just plain old chicken overseas, it really does. It tastes different. And, I even had fresh juice for the first time. That actually was the main reason that we bought a juicer, because I remember I went to this one place, I'll never forget it. In the Mall of Emirates, there was a restaurant called Apers, Apers, Apers. And I got a duck confit pizza, which sounds crazy fancy. It's duck that's actually cooked in its own fat, essentially. And they put on top of a pizza, which was, a crazy combination and is ridiculously good flavors.
Wow.
But I also ordered some apple juice because I love, I just love juice. And when it came out, I'm like, why is this apple juice green? Like, apple juice ain't supposed to be green. It's, it's like an amber color or whatever.
Like what we have here in the States.
Right, and it was kind of frothy at the top of it, and I'm like this, but when I taste it, it tastes like a Granny Smith apple. And, I asked the guy, I was like, where'd y'all get this from? He was like, what you mean, where we got it from? I was like, where did y'all import this? He was like, no, we this is fresh juiced apple. Like, we just juiced the apple. And, that just the concept of that blew my mind is that I'm in a restaurant in the largest mall in the world. And when you order juice, y'all take the fruit and juice it immediately and serve it in such a way Whereas you come here in the States and you order apple juice, you go get matzo, whatever else
Yeah.
they make in the store. And a lot of places overseas,
Everything's fresh.
Well, the preservatives and all that kind of stuff we put in our food is actually illegal over there.
Yeah, I know. And that's a shame. They poisoning us, and we just steady going to the store buying more poison.
Right. And and that was Dubai, and then granted, it was all kind of other stuff too. It not even just the food. There was a sunset safari. It was a big giant feast in the Dubai desert, which that also blew my mind. Wow. We went from there and we went to Abu Dhabi, and in Abu Dhabi they have Ferrari World, where it's I don't even know. It kind of almost like Six Flags, but everything is Ferrari themed.
Wow.
So you could actually test drive a Ferrari if you wanted to. They had a track and everything. So that we also got lost, and me and some of my buddies found ourselves surrounded by houses that were flying the black flag, and that kind of signified that they in some way were tied to ISIS.
Oh, wow.
So that was a little scary. But, we made it out of there. And this is all during the same time period of the deployment. And we went back and forth between Dubai and Abu Dhabi a couple of times, and we left from there and then went to Australia. And I got to see, and that's the thing a lot of people don't really, again, put in perspective. I got to see the southern sky. I'm on the southern hemisphere of the earth, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I got to see not a certain, but the night sky that I saw is different from what you will see in the northern hemisphere.
Really? How so?
Well, you got to think about it. When we look up, right, we're on the northern hemisphere, so we see those stars that we can see. Right? Yeah. Right? But when you're on the other side of the earth, you can't look up through the earth and see what we're looking at. You're essentially looking down, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. Right?
So you look down at the sky?
Well, no, it's just, okay, so so the earth is a sphere, right? And if you're at the top and you look up, you'll see what you see up there. Yeah. Well, if you're at the bottom of it and then you look up, you'll see whatever is down there. You aren't looking at the same thing, right? So the night sky that I saw had a different set of constellations than what we see here.
Wow.
Right? And that's you don't really think about it like that. But also,
no, I hadn't.
We were there right as they were going into winter, but we were there in March. Right?
Huh?
So again, they're on the southern hemisphere. So when we're in summer, they're in winter. So when it's June, July here and it's hot, it's actually cold there because that's their winter time.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I got to pet a kangaroo, and when you see them on TV, it's like, man, that their fur looks scratchy. It's soft as cashmere.
Wow.
It's but it's a kangaroo. Like
yeah.
Like the kangaroo, how they defend themselves. If you see like a kangaroo in a body of water, leave it alone, because it literally will grab you and hold you under the water, and it will drown you.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And a koala, don't ever go and mess with a koala. Not that they're vicious, but their claws are razor sharp, and if it grab hold of you,
it'll cut you like a knife.
But then come to find out, koalas are idiots. If you take because they'll only eat eucalyptus leaves. So if you take the leaves off of a tree and put it on a plate, they'll starve. Because they don't recognize that that's their food source. It has to be on that tree.
What?
The leaves are actually bad for them.
Right, yeah, that's the other thing. The leaves actually, ironically, the leaves are actually kind of almost poisonous to them, but, whatever.
And that's what they eat?
That's what they eat. I had an ostrich egg omelet. It was gross, but I still ate it. And that's, people don't understand how big an ostrich egg is the size of my head.
Oh my God!
Like it's
huge.
It is ridiculously large, and people don't really think about that. So that, and then we left from there, and then of course we were on the way back home, and we stopped in Hawaii, Waikiki to be exact, and in Waikiki, in the middle of the island, used to be a volcano. So I don't know if it's still active or not, but you can actually drive into it.
What?
And so I rented a car, and I was only there for maybe like a day because I came home early. But I rented a car and I just drove around the whole island. I saw a pineapple farm, which like outside just smelled like pineapples.
Wow.
Like it just smelled like pineapples. I drove into the crater, and Hawaii is weird because you'll be in farmland one minute, and then the next minute it's like you in this lush, dense jungle.
Wow.
And what to find out is because of all the volcanic ash, that actually makes the soil ridiculously fertile. So you can grow all kinds of stuff in Hawaii. The problem, though, is that they don't have the facilities to actually
process it.
Right, they don't have the facilities to process it. So even though they grow pineapples all over the place, they don't have the facilities to process it. So they actually have to ship their pineapples to the mainland to have them processed and then ship it back, which then makes all of the produce and all that kind of stuff in Hawaii ridiculously expensive.
Wow.
So just to experience all those different cultures and different foods and just various different ways of life. For me, at least, that was 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
Right. So that for me, at least, that was. That I kind of got bit by the travel bug after that.
I can imagine. And you went to some beautiful places.
Oh, it is. Even though I tried to describe them as best I can, words can't do it justice. To be out in the Dubai desert in the middle of the night, and we have this big giant feast in front of us, and they have belly dancers up on stage, and it's all you can eat, all you can drink. And again, you're in the desert, there's no light pollution anywhere, so you have the clearest view of the sky that you could ever imagine. Like, you could literally see the rest of the Milky Way.
That sounds like heaven.
Yeah, it was, and to keep in mind, I had no idea that I would even see these things or experience this. So it's not like I had some preconceived notion as to what I was going to experience.
Yeah.
It was just, hey, yeah, we're going to go do this thing. Like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, let's go.
Wow.
So that for me, at least, that was, and again, like I said, that's all the good stuff, but then all the bad stuff was, it was a 9.5-month deployment. At the time, that was the longest naval deployment in history. So that I had just came home from being stuck in my tech school, and I was away from home for 7 months.
Wow.
Came home for 1 month, and then had to go on deployment for 9.5 months. I felt like my chain of command was kind of jerking me around a lot. So that kind of also made it, really difficult for me, because again, I went in late. So I was 27, I already had a family, all that kind of stuff. So I really wasn't your typical, lower level enlisted.
Yeah. Did you get credit for any of the jobs you'd already had? Or does that matter in the military?
That doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay.
Not enlisted, at least. If you're an officer, I don't know, maybe, but
okay.
Enlisted, no. But yeah, so being away from my wife and kids, and like I said, when I went to boot camp, Mila was 2. So by the time I finally came back home, she was already 3. And I know that I'm going to have to be going again, and I won't see her again until she's 4.
Oh, wow.
And same with baby. And knowing that, my wife is at home.
By herself.
She's essentially a single parent.
Yep.
So, and I got that on my mind all day, every day. And I'm also dealing with people that's, 10 years younger than me. So they have a different mindset of how they do things.
Yep.
So it was a lot, to deal with.
Yeah.
And even to to make it even worse. So if I remember correctly, it's called the Straits of Oman, and as you go through there, I think it's between Yemen and Oman. I think I can't quite remember, but there's this canal basically, and on either side of the canal, these countries don't like each other.
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, in the Middle East, it's kind of like that. You know, you have neighboring countries that they've been at war with each other for thousands of years. But they call what's called darkened ship. And what that means is everybody has to be on the interior of the ship. They close the hangar bay doors. You can't go on the flight deck, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because what that's telling us is that they don't like each other. So you do something stupid if you want to, we both gonna light your ass up.
Whoa.
And, they're not playing. They're not playing.
Wow.
So to go through situations like that, and again, I'm on the aircraft carrier, which is the largest ship. But when the seas get rough, you still feel it.
Yeah.
If it's in a thunderstorm, again, that carrier can't get out the way. You
Yep.
got to go through the storm. So to feel that big, huge boat rocking up and down the waves like that,
yeah,
it get rough. It get rough. And then, there were no weekends. It's 7 days on, 7 days off.
oh my God.
And and I talk about Singapore. We was out to sea for 2 months before we even pulled into Singapore. So imagine working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, no days off for 2 months.
That's like slave labor. What was the shifts like?
It was, it was
12 hours?
What's that?
What were the shifts? 12 hours?
Yeah, 12 on, 12 off. And of course, it wasn't, a full 12 off because you still got to sleep, you still got to eat, you got to go wash clothes, you got to study for a little bit. So if you can get maybe 6 hours sleep, you were good.
Lord have mercy.
That work day most definitely was 12 hours though.
Wow.
So that's kind of why it was the best and the worst time. Is you kind of have to adapt to the mindset of don't think, just do.
Yeah.
Like I can't think about the fact that I ain't been home, that I miss my wife, that I miss my kids, that I hadn't had a good, decent meal since the last time we pulled in the port.
Yeah.
So it is. You kind of get caught in that just do mentality, and even coming off of deployment, they don't really have any like reintegration type services.
Yeah.
So you go from deployment mentality back into family life, and it's hard to make that switch like that.
So how did you make the switch? Or are you still working on it? Or should I be asking Chantel this question?
Well, I mean, there are some things that I still kind of struggle with. I'm a much lighter sleeper now.
Okay.
Than what I used to be. Because you kind of have to be. Really.
Yeah.
I don't do, and well, at least I didn't. I will say, at least I didn't do very well with being touched while I'm sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually. So if you work the day shift, right, you might have watch at night.
Yeah. Which
that you actually got to go up and that's the thing is that's the key because nobody wants to get woke up at 2:00 in the morning and talk about you got a 4-hour watch.
Yeah.
Like, bro, serious? I just went to sleep. So that and even the other the whole personal space. At least in the Navy on the ship you have what's called a coffin rack. What that is you have your bed is essentially a platform, and the bed with the mattress, platform, it lifts up, and there's compartments under that, and that's your entire life. Everything that you own on that ship is there.
Wow.
So you have to get used to and deal with, doing more with less. Which is fine because while you're on deployment, you don't really need all that kind of stuff.
No.
But that's you kind of get used to that. I actually that is probably the thing that I'm still trying to work on is that, and of course Chantel, she fusses at me about it a lot. You know, I'll keep something until it's just demolished. You know, I got some pants now that my ass they're basically hanging out of because they got a but they work pants. I got shoes that my pinky toe hanging out the side of, but overall the shoes.
Oh my God, Bradley, just let it go.
But see, I can't because it still works.
Let it go. Let it go.
And that's the thing, while you're on the floor, you don't really want to go and buy a whole bunch of stuff because you ain't got no space to put it. And I'm kind of still like that now, even though sure, I got the money to go and buy some shoes. It's like,
and y'all have plenty of space,
right? So it's there are certain things that it's kind of hard to let go of. For example, when I go stand in line in certain areas, I find myself standing in parade rest, with my hands behind my back, and it's like, oh wait.
I'm not knowing the Navy no more.
Right. So, it's just certain things that it's kind of hard to let go of.
Yeah.
And I try not to have that, that military presence, but, with me, when I'm out and about, I'm always scanning.
Yeah. And that came, I had Alex laughing when I told him about what was that? Was that Sky Zone?
Yeah. Yeah, that came out hard that day.
Yes. You was down looking like like you was in the jungle going to stake out. It's like, what? Oh, but thank you.
Yeah, but like I say, it's those types of things, is some good, some bad. I in a way, I kind of like that I'm,
observing
aware of my surroundings.
Yeah.
But at times it can be too much. Instead of being in the moment, I'm kind of always scanning.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of the good and the bad with that.
Yeah. And Chantel, was your worst year when you had to deal with your cancer?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, before that, I would say as far as like the worst years was my parents, but that's like multiple years. So
yeah.
But yeah, dealing with cancer was rough. I mean, I found out I found out on the 24th of October in 22. So I'm actually coming up on that date, which is weird. But and I just realized that I didn't even really think about it.
So that's this coming week.
Yeah.
But
so that's just a bit surreal, like just thinking about it and how I felt, and my brain was like all over the place, just trying not to freak out and trying to mentally prepare myself for this craziness I'm about to go through.
Yeah. What year was that again?
Huh?
What year was that again?
22.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
So, and I dealt with it I don't even feel like it because it's 24 now. And
time passed fast.
Like from 22 to 23.
Yep.
Time does pass fast.
Yes, it does. Okay, and what self-care habits do you guys have to take care of your mental health?
Yes, yeah. Well, you go ahead first.
Okay. Well, I mean, of course, like, it's kind of hard to do that. I guess, like, to just take out the time, just making that habit of actually doing it. I've been trying to make a habit of just meditating, of course, doing way more than that, but meditating has been a thing I've been doing lately. At work, we have a challenge that's going on that's actually surrounding that. So it makes it a lot easier to focus on.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm really just trying to get into the things that I like. Like I said, I of course, self-care is music is my self-care, but I'm always doing stuff when I'm actually listening to it as well. So I don't actually take out the time to just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
And, just doing things for myself, like go to, sauna and just sit there, or like go get my nails under my pedicure, things like that. Like, I always think about, that costs money, so I'm not going to do it. And, I'm like, well, that's your way of doing some type of self-care.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Then,
because I need to do it more. I don't do for myself as much as I should.
Yeah, I think I just been trying to take care of my mental health more than anything before I go into everything else. I feel like if I can get that done first, then I can go ahead and just enjoy different types of self-care.
Yeah.
But right now, it's just,
Yeah, it's a lot. And it's still new. Give yourself time.
Yep.
Yeah. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Nope.
And Bradley, what do you do for self-care, for your mental health?
Well, really, for both mental and physical. I've gotten back in the gym, I guess fairly recently.
So exercise?
Yeah. Just, I can go in there and just zone out and just focus on, lifting some weight. Just kind of turn my head off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One more question, then we're going to go into your realities. What do you do regularly to further educate yourself, such as reading books, listening to podcasts, attending church, Bible studies, seminars, or workshops?
Oh, shit. Reading books is like the main thing that I do to further educate myself. But, of course, other things like as far as just staying update with technology and, like Coursera is like a big thing that I'm really using right now. So staying up to date with the things I want to get into, like project management. I got to make sure that I'm staying up to date with the terminology, how things are done, things like that. So, yeah.
So what would that be, a seminar or a workshop?
It's usually just workshops and courses.
Okay.
Sometimes every once in a while you have a seminar, but like at work I'll attend, meetings to where I know what's going on, I guess, as far as like work goes and how they do things.
Okay. So
I learned a lot that way.
Bradley, how do you further educate yourself regularly? Reading books, listening to podcasts, attending church, Bible studies, seminars, or workshops?
For me, it's outside of the, going to church and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of a mix of all of that, being honest. I typically have to know and identify what I'm trying to do. And I'll tend to seek out people who are, doing what I want to do and, doing it to the satisfactory level that I would want to be able to emulate. And I try to, try to figure out how they got to where they are.
So like a mentorship.
Yeah, kind of like a mentorship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, now finally, I have 3 questions based on your realities from the past. Please share where you just knew that God had been involved because your situation suddenly changed. Something from the past 3 years of your life.
Well, this house, number one. So it took us, 7 months to get to closing?
Yeah.
Which is, unheard of. But it's, I don't know, for me, and I guess that's kind of when it goes back to me contradicting myself about, God and whatever else and all that. But long story short, my grandfather loved monarch butterflies. So I take it as a sign, and it I don't know, ironically, maybe I'm just looking for signs, I don't know. But typically speaking, whenever I'm kind of going through something that kind of really has me down, I'll just start seeing butterflies out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I kind of take that as a sign to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's what we did with the house, because there were several months where we could have just said, you know what, I'm going to cut my losses. This ain't working. This just ain't for us.
Yeah.
And, through perseverance and sure with the signs and everything else, we kept going, and, we got the house now. So that's, for me at least, that's probably the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
It's because that's something that we've been working on and talking about for a very, very long time.
Okay.
And it just so happens that, we really, really like the house. Sure, yeah, it's a fixer-upper, but I look at that as we can put our own personal touch on it.
Yep.
And that's kind of the personal side. The business side of it is that being that it is a fixer-upper, and then that's the thing, we bought it for undervalue. Already. So the house is already worth more than what we're eventually going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And it's a fixer-upper, so it's going to be worth even more.
Yeah.
But it's like everything kind of came together in what we're looking in for a house.
Yeah.
And, I've actually looked at comparable properties throughout the city.
Mm-hmm.
And for what we bought, for the price that we bought it, at least it's my opinion that we bought the absolute best house in all of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't have dreamed that it would have been this way. And I guess that's the only thing I can think of is somebody was looking out. Whether my grandfather died, somebody was looking out, because the house was so the asking price was $135,000,
mm-hmm.
and we bid $137,000, and they took it. So, and the house had been sitting on the market for 100 days. So it's not like it just came on the market; it was sitting for quite some time.
You know what?
And for us to get the house at the price that we got it for, and then, it doesn't need very much renovating. A lot of the house is actually fairly solid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, and then the proximity to the schools and just, all other kind of stuff. It really is the perfect house. So for me, that within the past 3 years, the most significant thing that could, mean that, somebody looking out is the house, is having got this house.
Somebody. Would that possibly be God?
It could be.
Could be.
I don't know. Like you said, I'm gonna find out one day.
Yeah. And his handprints is all over this.
Yeah, when I see him, I'm gonna give him some dap. Thank you, bro.
Exactly. Thanks for looking out.
You was looking out for you, boy.
Yep. Chantel? Something from the past 3 years of your life where you just knew because things had changed around suddenly. The house?
It's the house.
Okay.
Most definitely. And the same thing you was talking about, it was a lot of times where it was just so many reasons why we could have just dropped out, but it was something that just kept us pushing, and something that we wanted, and it was, I don't know, it was just sometimes, every time we went into that house, it was just like, it was a fit for us. So,
yeah. So both of y'all have had but God moments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that's just one, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because, well, even the situation with Davey,
yeah.
How he got shot had his face been turned any other different direction.
Exactly. But God.
Right.
Come on now. Come on, God. You get all the glory, all the praise.
Right. He was describing it to us, and I was just, in my mind, I'm like, I'm seeing it, and I'm like, geez, when you was telling me about how the guy's gun jammed, and I'm like, oh,
too close
so
for comfort.
things. Right.
And they had just came from Bible study.
Right.
Really? In New Orleans?
Yeah.
The boy's gun jammed? And y'all say how toe up the car was?
Right.
But God...
There's a video of the car. I was like, goodness gracious.
But God.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I mean, I'm fairly certain I can think some other things, but, those two things, probably trump just about anything else I can think of.
Yeah, but God.
Yeah.
So, okay, another reality from y'all past where y'all just knew that God had been involved because things changed around suddenly. A memory of something from your younger adult or teen years.
There's, I don't know if you can remember this. There was a time, this was before the military, shortly before, rather. I remember we were about maybe $100 to $200 short on rent. And we were already working ourselves crazy. And, I could not find the time for any more extra shifts. Chantel couldn't find the time. We didn't have nothing to sell. We really didn't feel like we had anybody to ask, for that, all that kind of stuff, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And we both came home from work. We had one car at the time. We both came home from work, and there was an envelope under the door, and it just had the roses on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't recognize the handwriting. It is, I know my dad's handwriting, I know my mom's, my brother, I know everybody's handwriting that's in my life, and I didn't recognize any of it. And in the envelope, it was $100.
Mm-hmm.
And our landlord happened to be outside, doing some stuff or whatever. And, we asked him, hey, look, if you see anybody, come up to our door, she was like, oh, well, yeah, now that you mention it, there was, I know it's just, some guy. And I'm like, oh, would you mind describing him? Because, and of course, we told her the situation. I was like, we was going to be late with rent, and we wasn't sure how we was going to pay and this and that. But now, we got everything.
Yeah.
She was saying that, when she turned around to try to, look who it was, they were kind of standing in the direction of where the sun was shining. So it was just, kind of like just a dark figure kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
She really couldn't give us no kind of detail of who it was. Well, both my parents, and as I talk to my parents fairly often.
Mm-hmm.
They were both in New Orleans at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was already living here, and nobody else knew where we lived. Not even Chantel's brother knew where we lived. And he was in the same city. And truth be told, to this day, we still actually don't know who that was.
No, we don't.
I believe we've asked just about everybody that we could ask, and everybody was like, no, I wasn't even in the city. I wasn't over here. I was doing something else. I was doing this. I was doing that. Sounds
like y'all received another but God moment.
Yeah,
no. God will give you what you need when you need it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that. Again, and I guess that wasn't necessarily challenging. We were still adults at that point in time, but
we're young adults,
right? Yeah. And the kids were fairly young. I think she was around 1 or 2, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So I was maybe 26, I guess.
Yeah, 26. I was 27.
Yeah. That was another one. That most definitely was another one.
Another but God moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Seems like you're going to have a lot of questions.
Oh, I always got questions. I get in trouble because I almost got kicked out of catechism because I asked so many questions. Yeah.
Wow. Hold on. Write down. I like to write down the answers so I can look back over them later. Okay. One more. Another memory of something, or perhaps you were told about your younger self when you were a child, toddler, or infant, where you just knew that God had been involved because your situation suddenly changed.
I'd have to say my parents get together. My mom and my stepdad. Knowing what I know of them now, so they said they were college sweethearts. They went their separate ways for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
They went and got married to other people, had children with them and everything.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, they eventually got divorced and all that kind of stuff. But my stepdad, my dad,
mm-hmm.
He actually lived in California for a little while. He came back here, and he played football for Tulane,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently,
because that's where they met, huh?
Right, correct,
yeah.
correct. And he was offered to actually go and try out for the Cowboys, the football team. And his reasoning for not doing so was because he didn't want to be too far away from home.
Wow.
So
as if California wasn't far.
Right. my mom, she told me about how when she graduated college, she actually went on a bunch of different interviews all over the place. She majored in chemical engineering. Mm-hmm. So she could have went anywhere.
Yeah.
Before. And she was saying that her dad, my grandfather, basically, when he found out that she was fielding interviews for all these players, all the way in Ohio,
mm-hmm.
not just in Louisiana, way out the way.
Yeah.
And when he caught wind that she was fielding these different interviews, he called her crying, begging her to stay home, to stay close.
Mm-hmm.
And she stayed in Baton Rouge to be closer to him.
Mm-hmm.
So of course that then as some because I still don't know how they got back together.
Yeah.
But that allowed that to happen because had she gone to Ohio, I highly doubt that would have happened.
Yeah.
And
the rest is history.
So I know I had nothing to do with it. But that's kind of one of those things where it's y'all had every opportunity to never see each other ever again.
Yeah. But God.
Some kind of way they found themselves back with each other.
Yeah.
And not only did they find their way back to each other, but they also found a way to stay with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the other thing.
Yeah.
And so obviously my situation changed after that because I have a good father at that.
Yeah.
Actually, and of course I say that track and field is a big part of who I am. He was my first coach.
Mm-hmm.
Your
stepfather was your first coach?
He was my first track coach.
Wow.
He and some of the other fathers at my elementary school, they started the first track team.
Wow.
Yeah. So if had it not been for that, I would have never ran track.
Wow. And you went all the way to college on that track.
Right, exactly. And had I never run track, I would have never, wanted to. The main reason that I went to UNO at the time was I honestly didn't think that I was good enough to go on LSU's track team just because, it's LSU and they kind of always got good teams. And I didn't want to go to Southern. I'm not all that, not that I have an issue with it. It's just, I'm not all that big with HBCU.
Yeah.
Not that I have a problem with them. It's just that, that's just not for me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to nowhere else, and it was like I actually like New Orleans, and toured the campus, and I was like, you know what, I want to come here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would have. Truth be told, I don't even know if I would have went to college had it not been for me running track.
I
had to say all that to say all of that is because they got together, when I was, basically a little baby, a little toddler.
Yeah.
So that would probably be, as far as childhood that changed things overnight. That'd be it.
Wow. And Chantel.
So I would say, and this, I know this is a little bit of a jacked up situation, but at the age, because I was like 13 when all this stuff was going on. But meet my sister. I mean, even though the way I met her, like the circumstances wasn't good because my dad was dying.
Yeah.
And we Ashley Baptist, and that's where I meet her.
Wow.
So it was awesome that I found out I had a sister, and I finally got to meet her. And, we've been, close ever since.
Yeah.
But, it's a definitely bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because, I got to meet not just her, but I also got to meet my grandmother.
Yeah.
Finally. Like, I remember seeing her like a few times when I was much younger, but I was too young to remember.
Mm-hmm.
But her, the rest of my family. But the best thing that came out of it was meeting her. Even though I only got to be around her for just a couple of years because she died in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
I was just happy to meet her and actually get to know her.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. Okay, now that's really heartfelt to finally meet your sister that you've been wanting for 13 years. I had always wanted a sister, and my dad has 2 outside kids, a son and a daughter by 2 different women. And I would have loved to meet them. They're not even spoken about. They weren't even spoken about in our household regularly. I just happened to, I don't even remember how I happened to find out about. And come to find out, it was this grocery store that we used to shop at on Friday nights, and we take my grandparents to the grocery store with us so they could go shopping because they didn't drive. And I remember Mama saying that one time we was there, and one of I don't know whether it was the boy's mom was in the store, and she saw us with Daddy, and it was some kind of confrontation. But all my life, I had wanted a sister, an older sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one, a half sister. And I just feel like why was I cheated out of that?
Yeah.
Wow. So, but
most definitely.
Yeah. So I am so happy that you and your sister have a relationship, because I would have given anything to know my sister, my half sister and half brother. But my mama shut that down. She was like, no, them outside kids. So we never knew them or their moms. We didn't have anything to do with them. So But I'm like, when I found out, I was like, and not that it would have changed anything. I still would have I would have had the same life that I had, but it's like just knowing that I would have had a sister, another sibling out there.
Right.
Because me and my brother, we had our off and on moments when we was kids, but now we're completely off. And thinking back, I just wish that we could have had that relationship. Actually, my half brother might be on Facebook because I'm thinking his name is Matthew Bihms, and my dad doesn't have an account. And when I reached out to him, you know, you can DM somebody. He didn't respond. And I've asked my aunts, my dad's sisters, if they know of, they didn't even know about those kids. Because I was trying to ask them if they knew anything about, and they was like, they didn't know anything. So I was like, okay. So, and I haven't heard back from him. I don't know whether he's like, don't want to start nothing and don't know exactly what my relationship is with our parents, my parents. So, but, and I'm not going to put my business out there on Facebook.
No, I don't do that.
So, yeah. All right. So, in closing, what does being refined by the fires mean to you?
Going through what, if you want to call it, you know, I guess like life-changing things that will put you through a depression and out of it. You know, things that change your life forever. Like, you know, just whether it's trauma or good things. That's what I think about when you mentioned that. So,
yeah.
For me, and this, I guess I kind of take it almost as a literal sense, maybe even a metaphor a little bit as well. But I think of it in the sense of metallurgy. You know, to harden steel, you got to put heat to it.
Yep.
You know, it changes the structure of it.
Yep.
You know, in order to be something, you got to go through something.
Exactly.
You know, whatever that something is, whatever thing you're trying to be. You know, if you, want to be a good scholar, you got to study your ass off.
Yep.
You know, you try to be a good athlete, you got to go to practice.
Yep.
You know, so.
And not just go to practice, you got to actually practice and put in the work.
So that, like for me, it's a transformative thing. And I think we all, at to a certain degree, have our own fires that we got to go through.
Yep.
Some make sense, some don't. Sometimes, and of course, as the saying goes, you play with fire, you might get burned. Sometimes you might get burned.
Yep.
You might put yourself in a fire that ain't meant for you.
Yeah.
But that don't mean that you ain't gonna learn nothing.
Right.
But
it's lessons to be learned in everything.
Right. So for me, like I said, that's kind of how I look at it. You got to go through something to be something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I thank you guys, and this is the longest interview I've had yet. And Alex was complaining about the other one I had that was 4 hours. Y'all's is 6 hours and 36 minutes. So we're gonna have to have this gonna have to be a 2-part. So
hanging out.
Yes, for real. But it's been good, and I thank y'all. It's like, Lord. So whoever tunes in, to for this interview, it'll be in 2 parts.
Yes.
And this will be
right.
Make sure you ain't got nothing to do.
Exactly. It's a long one. So I'd like to thank the refined ones for tuning in today's interview with my friends Bradley and Chantel, and for sharing just a piece of their lives with us for today. May God keep his steady hand of protection over all who come to hear this interview in the future after it's posted. Then that may it bring them, and may it also bring them realization of their kingdom assignments for them down here on earth. In the mighty name of Jesus, these are the things I pray. We ask, amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys, and y'all have a good night.
All right, you too. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you for being my guinea pigs. All right.
You finally get the house straight, we're gonna have a little hangout. So
I know. Like I say, you gonna have to have us over. Let us know what to bring. Cause like I say, Alex loves to cook too.
That'll work.
Yep.
That'll work.
Looking forward to it. I'll keep y'all in my prayers on that house.
Yeah. Oh yes, please do.
And like I say, prayer works.
Yes.
Prayer works. So I don't know if y'all have been praying on it, but if not, y'all may want to start, because when prayers go up, blessings come down.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, well, y'all have a good night.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.